Yeah, man, we put a lot of years in this frat. I only did 25. And just imagine when the frat was founded, 1911. Campus of Howard University. Today is November 17th. We call this Founders Day for a great fraternity called Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. I thought I'd use this platform to give some recognition and some kudos and dedication to our esteemed fraternity here. So, man, and we got a bruh right here in the background too. He's waiting to get on, but yeah, we're gonna have brothers come through and give their words and memories of this esteemed fraternity, things, thoughts that they might want to share with others, and probably even get over some myths and things like that. Okay, so let's get into it. Anyhow, I'm always getting interrupted when I'm doing the lives. Let's see. All right, so we have people coming in here. Let's see. We got in here Brother Ed. What's going on, good brother?
Good morning to you, my brother.
Yes, sir. Happy Founders Day to you.
Likewise.
Yes, we're getting people coming in and just give their words and things about the fraternity and stuff, because we're on live and we got people listening. I pretty much do not keep it a secret. Is not any kind of underground type stuff. Everybody see us, everybody know us. They see what we do. Some people pick up on certain things than others, but what's your take, fam?
You said, what's my take in what regards?
Actually, what do you want to share, because you've been in the frat for a long time. So, what are the things that you want to share about the frat that you would like people to know?
What it is, you know what? I in my time at Omega, I live by a simple principle where I constantly ask myself one question in all my deeds and all my walks and all my actions. If I would have been so fortunate to be around in 1911, would the founders have selected me? But based on my character, based on my community activism, about my outreach, and in my influence, my sphere of influence. So everything I do is about uplift, about outreach, and about spreading the footprint of Omega in trying to expand on the principles, beliefs, and ideas that founders had some 109 years ago.
Yes, sir. So, how has the fraternity benefit you? Period.
Well, you know what? It caused me. What I learned early on, the fraternity is not going to give you anything you don't already have. All it is going to highlight. It's going to highlight your strengths as well as your weaknesses, and it definitely taught me the true understanding of humility, the ability to express myself, the ability to have no problems, submitting, and even strengthening my relationships. The way I interact with my wife or women, always opening doors, don't allowing them to pump gas. Not because don't feel that they can, but feel that it's my gentleman duty to protect women, to be chivalrous, to be there, to be respectful. The way I talk, the way I interact, the way I conduct myself, I'm just always more cognizant of when you represent the whole, you have a duty and responsibility.
Okay, so we've been joined by another esteemed brother. His name is Derek Rice. It's popping up here on the screen. What's happening, crew?
So, brothers, how y'all doing?
All righty. We're just doing a little Founders Day live stream. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I invited quite a few brothers and see if they want to come in and put in their thoughts and pretty much reflect about their time in the frat, and then even some of the historical things that kind of touched you or got you to go either get in or even go forward after you got in? So what say you, fam?
I mean, I'm approaching 20 years in the frat, so I feel my whiskers come in. I know our esteemed rep is on here, and I believe he's approaching 20 in the next couple of days. So, wish him a happy 20th in the frat, of course. Brother Ed Young and 2000 Brothers Talk chapter. Me myself, I've learned over my, as I've been, doing this thing in Omega that my involvement in Omega has been, you know, throughout my life. And I just reflect back to even in high school when my high school football coach was, I found out later after I became an Omega that he was an Omega member of Omega, and members of my own chapter, Brother Marcus Badford and other chapter brothers who were, when I was a youth, were some of our Pop Warner coaches in the city of Compton. So it just goes to show that how far Omega is far reaching and how it impacts and influences a lot of people. I think some of my fondest memories of coming up, especially living in Compton, it was from members of Omega Psi Phi, not knowing they were members, just seeing them as good, solid men in the community doing, God's work. So I think that's where I see myself going forward, and that's just my aim.
Oh my goodness. Yes, sir. We were born joined by Brother Saunders, but he dropped off, I think, because sometimes this I think it's called StreamYard. Sometimes the StreamYard is kind of funny,
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I just remember, the whole. What really inspired me was I want to say different world. When I was watching different world, and it dawned on me. I was like, well, maybe not. I don't know, because I was still already in college, but I wasn't in the college where they had that kind of, life with the fraternities and sororities. I was in an all arts type college, but there was a bruh on that campus named D. White from Old Dominion. I forgot the name of his chapter, but he was, telling me some things about the fraternity, and he didn't have a brand, he had a tattoo. So he was breaking down some of the stuff, and I was like, why am I not in this fraternity?
Right.
And so, I got a hold of our our vice grand, and that's active now. And he pretty much, showed me the ropes. He told me a lot of stuff that I needed to know, introduced me to Lambda chapter, did some things with them for a minute. And then all of a sudden I wind up, in this chapter. So, and man, you talking about, I don't know if people told you guys about me. Bro, I came in running. I was like, okay, what I need to do? What I got? I mean, I've been calling everybody, telling everybody, hey, I'm here. I want to meet you. Bro, I was so enthused. Man, I mean, how did it feel after you guys, crossed the sand? So, what was there?
You know what? I think when we crossed, it was exhilarating and exhausting at the same time. So,
Yeah, you ain't that one.
Yeah, it was exhilarating, exhausting. You spend the first 2-3 months believing if it's true or not. To be honest with you, you're still answering questions and yes sir, no sir, and no, that whole type get up. You get so programmed that it just takes you time to unwind. But yeah, I think we hit the ground running. I think we just started. We learned that me and my lumber to challenge each other. And we we wanted to be out and about. We figured we were still young, rather young. We was in our 20s. So we were rather young in the frat. So we wanted to be out and about, and we ran around,
Your Borgin fan.
and we got to meet. That's what we did. Travel, served, and learned, and that was what we did.
Mm. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's And what about you, Ed? How did it feel after you crossed? Were you like relaxed? Were you like on the edge?
I was confused. I didn't like I said, I came from a PWI institution, so had very little interaction or even knowledge of Greek life. And it wasn't until I got a job, it just so happened to be run, operated, and managed by bros, and there was 5 bros to be exact. It was Kenny Mathis, Alvin Boyd, Derek McGee. I believe it was Jamie Barnett, and later on it was Brian Reeves. So it was all bros. Oh, and Trayvon Jackson. So there was all bros that worked there. So that was my interactions, and I used to work the mid shift with Al on Tuesday, Thursday, and just from his interactions with me, he said, "You know what? I'm part of an organization that I think would be a great asset to." And so that's how my journey started. And then when it was all said and done, I had no idea what had just happened, where I was, and what was expected. So all I did was try to serve, just try to show up and serve. And it took me about 4 or 5 to figure out, to have a better understanding what this thing was. And then once, you know, on rest in peace, Brother Todd May put me in my first leadership position, then everything kind of took hold from that point, and shit, I've been running ever since.
You know what? We're probably the best brothers to talk about this because time has passed. I think it's been. I mean, he passed what, 2007.
Yeah, 2007.
Let's give some honor to Todd May. Give us some good memories. Give us some things that you took away from the experience with Brother Todd May. I mean, who wants to start with that? Because this is probably the best time. Which, I mean, do you guys think so?
Yeah, I mean, Todd made me, and I spent a lot of time with Todd. I remember the first time I was coming through the frat, and I was actually coaching football, and I'm in a game. I think I was at a freshman football game. I'm coaching the game, and I knew how special this dude was, because normally I'm pretty aggravated when I'm talking to people during the game, and Todd walks across the middle of the football field while I'm coaching and hands me a piece of paper and says, "I need you to do this and do that and have it back to me." Now I'm coaching a game. I got my jersey, everything on, and we're winning the game. But I think he waited till he saw a timeout. I know Todd had played football, in high school, so he knew what it was. So I can tell he was waiting for it to happen. He comes across the field, hands me a paper. I need this by tonight, and I'm just like, he was that kind of guy. It was all about that action. And, as I got to know him and love him and spend more time with him, I just appreciated learning from him how to be a different type of person in Omega for a different situation. That's what Todd, taught me, hanging out with him, working with him, that Omega and Omega men have to wear a lot of suits. They have to code switch. They have to do a lot of things to be successful. And he was able to jump from the educated bruh to the out bruh to the political bruh to the bruh with uplift to the best friend to a man's man to a great father. Like, he knew how to do all of those things, well. And I know, and I would also, how where does this come from? He said, this comes from over time. It just comes from being out, being engaged with the brothers. It comes from learning and growing and talking and being with each other. And then you start really finding your way in Omega. And I think that's one of the biggest thing I learned from him.
Okay. What about you, Ed? What experiences you want to share with Todd May?
Well, like I said, I typically, when I first joined, I came to meetings, was quiet, didn't raise my hands, worked events, and went home. That's essentially what was my interaction. I came to meetings, sat in the back, and showed up to events, worked events, and just went back home. And it was about it was 2005 to be exact. I was being reelected. I was reelected for the position of keeper of peace. Todd was the bosses at this time, and he said, "You're going to turn the position down. I have another." I said, "Okay," and I didn't think nothing of it. And I won't lie to you. I was like, "Man, I was a good keeper of peace. Did I do something wrong?" You know, like, man, I used to hold it down at the meetings. I was quick to say peace, bruh. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So I humbly declined the position, and that's when D. Rice's LB, ascended to the keeper of peace position. And so we're going later on the meeting. I'm just sitting back in the meeting like I do, just observing. And then Brother Kenny Willis, the former MSP chair that I preceded, he announced retirement. He said he's relocating to Lancaster. It was his honor serving the Bros, and he announced that he'd be retiring, stepping down as MSP chair. And anybody know the role of MSP chair? The only thing as powerful as a boss list is MSP chairman. And then Todd announced, he goes, "I'm proud to announce that Brother Young will be the new MSP chairman." And I looked up in surprise, in horror. I said, "What did you say?" "What did you just say?" And he came. He said, "I'll talk to you after the meeting." And I was in daze. I'm like, "No, I know he just didn't do that." I was like, "Definitely didn't put me in that position." I was like, "Please tell me you didn't put me in that position." I go, because brothers who don't understand, it's a responsibility that most brothers cannot fathom. Brothers cannot fathom the responsibility with that. And he took me outside. He said, "I've watched you I've watched you over the last 5 years." He said, "You come, you walk your path, you are who you are, you're uninfluenced by brothers. You're going to do what you're going to do, and you're going to do what's right. And I'll know you will do what's right to protect Omega and protect the chapter." And left it like that. And it was a conversation that I never forgot to this day. And it's something that I always am cognizant about, is that you had a brother who loved Tall chapter unconditionally. I wish that he could have seen some of his ideas and dreams come to fruition, as far as brothers from the chapter ascending in leadership roles and taking just being engaged in the direction of the chapter. And I think he would just be so proud of some of the things. And it never ceased to amaze me, his love and commitment to this thing called Omega Psi Phi. I mean, Todd would be out 6 o'clock in the morning fellowshipping, but he would be at an event at 8 o'clock in the morning in the suit. And he always impressed me with that his just level of commitment. And like that is something that's I've always lived with me, that the importance of people seeing you, acknowledging you, and giving you an opportunity to serve. And from that I derived a saying that I always tell brothers: never deny yourself the opportunity and privilege of service, because it will change your life.
Yeah, like when I first came through, me and him didn't really see eye to eye that much. You know how it is when there's always a couple of brothers. It was him and another brother. His last name was Cooper. I forgot his first name. But it was, how it was, like, even after you cross, you could still never do anything right. That kind of thing. So he took that position, and you know how it is. You go to another bruh, you're like, tell him F him, you a bruh, blah, blah, blah. You went through your stuff, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, whatever. But I never did take that position. But the thing was, we talked a few times in the beginning, but later on, he was watching me. He was, after all of my LBs that were around, they pretty much, doing their own thing. I was always in the mix. So I was always in dang near every committee, took on some things, always been an extra asset. And he was always there. Right. And so it was a trip because I forgot when it might have been the Clave. I don't know, but I did something and he came out of nowhere and just gave me a big hug. And he said, I've been watching but these are things that you have to go through. So from then on, he was like a shadow. Because you got to remember, I came in 95. So if you can look in the tall history, wasn't too many people just out and about with the bros and taking care of business at the same time. I think he was the only one that represented at that time, and so I was like, okay, I'm doing the same. My whole thing was, I'm not just going to be a one-dimensional cube. I wanted to do everything. I went through a lot, so I'm going to go through a lot afterwards. So let's go through it. So, I mean, everywhere I went, whether it's out, the business, district meetings, whatever it was, I was there. He was there. When it was time to do like shows with the district and all that, I was in the show. He was there. So in a way, we weren't really Batman and Robin, like, how can I say, close, but we were still Batman and Robin as the chapter. I guess I was Robin, of course. But the thing was, we were the only ones for a few years, man, that were really going out. I mean, Q-Ruption to, the Q-Fest. I mean, all these different places where some people just weren't being seen. I mean, in other places as well. It was just me and him. But we traveled together a few times, and we talked about a lot of things, whatever. And I don't know if he sat with you guys, but I think one of the things he always pushes that brothers are forced upon you, and it's the friends you choose. He always pushed that, and that was something to show that basically, some people you're just not going to get along with, but at the same time, you still have friends. You still have people around that would be able to help you fulfill the mission, or you can help them if they need you. But, that's where that friendship gives you that bond. And so he pushed that. I mean, I wish I was able to do more with him because he had some plans, but it's kind of weird how we have our conversations and phone calls and stuff like that. I think he was a great asset, but I think some of the older people kind of misunderstood his direction. But I think he really had a good plan going, and I think we're just going to really miss the brother. Every now and then, believe it or not, I took about like maybe 5 or 6 obituaries, man. I still got them. I'm like, man, I'm not, because I couldn't believe all that time we spent with him. This dude is sitting there in the coffin. And when I saw him, I made up my mind to take care of my health, because I was kind of young for him to go like that. I mean, so I still think about that. I still think about us as Black men, how we don't understand, we don't see how important health is until like towards the end. And we talk about this a lot, but I think I think his memory should be, out there more, and really resurrect more of the assets of the things that he brought to the fraternity. The funniest part, though, I don't know if you guys will share, is the way he talked. If you didn't, if you were outside of the fraternity, you wouldn't take that serious. Like, man, this is the little valley dude. In the frat, different story. Different story. But yeah, man, it's a lot. I mean, so we got quite a bit of history in this frat. We got quite a bit of history in this frat. So that's the frat you guys pledged. Okay, we probably got a troll. Or now, what do you guys take? How do the other thing is, because some people don't understand that we work with different organizations. So can anybody explain how the whole Panhellenic Council works together and do things in unison?
Ed, you want to take that one?
Yeah, in regards to the Panhandle Divine Nine, a lot of us, not all of us, have very similar goals, missions, and outreach. So I think it helps align or expand our services when we collaborate. I'm a big proponent of collaboration, working because everybody has different skill sets, everybody has a different sphere of influence, and I believe when our programming, our community outreach reaches its height is when we collaborate together, because we can share our research, we can share the burden, we can share our manpower, we can share and expand the scope. So typically what we do try to do in SoCal area is everything scale and scope, right? We want it to be deep impact everything we do. We want the scale to be as big as possible and the scope to be as big as possible. So that's what we try to do, and that is made more possible when we collaborate. We have some real strong collaborations throughout the Divine Nine, with Century City Deltas, with Cerritos Deltas, with Compton Deltas, as well as various AKA chapters, and it just seems whenever time you collaborate, the impact seems so much bigger, and it's a lot more far reaching, and it only makes sense because we all serve the same demographic. We have the same mission, the same goal is to bring critical resources to people of color and the underserved communities. And when we collaborate together, it's just nothing we can't do.
Okay, and we got a bruh from NE.
What's going on, Q's? Root to the Q's, man. Happy Founders Day.
Happy Founders Day, big doggy.
Good, happy Founders Day.
What's going on, T?
What's up, T? How you doing, doggy?
Dog, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, man. Just, shouting out the bros, man, for the mighty new Epsilon. Never enough, not to be explained.
Yeah, we just bringing bros up here to share some things about what they want people to know about the frat, some memories they want to share. We'll probably get into a little bit of the the school and the community aspect, those kind of things.
I would tell a lot of people from the outside that there's so much more. There's so much more to it. I remember showing up at Alabama A&M University as a freshman, and by default, I don't know. Again, it's by design for God. But one day I looked up and found that all my friends were Qs. All of them. So when I joined ROTC, the head of the ROTC department was the bros, you know, when I was in Ranger Challenge for ROTC, you know, the leader of it and most of the members in that part of ROTC was the bros. And then in my civilian life, I just started stumbling over dudes in the chapter. So, you know, again, like guys like Said in them, I was cool with them even before I got into the frat. So coming from New York City and the environment that I was in, I had no idea, you know, about the Panhellenic life and anything else. And for the most part, the reason why I joined the fraternity was because all my friends were there. That's what the appeal was. So I was just like, wow, so and so is there, so and so is there. My mentors are there. We, like I said, I already get along with these guys. You know what I'm saying? What am I waiting for?
Yeah. Yeah,
You know
man.
Well, what you? I'm sorry. What you say, T?
Sand dog, we lost your sound, fam.
Yeah. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. So that was the thing for me, man. It was just a thing of my friend. All of my friends are there. Everybody I'm down with is there. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And then, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, fam.
Yeah. And then, you know, and then when I pursued it, I got cussed out. You know what I'm saying? I thought
That's the bros for you.
I thought I was gonna be embraced, man.
Yeah, all paraphernalia out. You.
Yo,
That's the bros for you.
Yo, man, I got straight, you know, again, trying to be, you know what I'm saying, trying to be discreet and everything, and then, you know, you know what I'm saying, you know, and then, you know, I got a phone call or two, like, man, what the hell is wrong with you, right? What you think, you know what you asking for?
Right.
But you know, like I said, man, these are, you know, these are precious memories. It's memories. It's memories that can't be topped because, you know, sad and most unfortunately, in the greater African American male experience, a lot of us won't have the opportunity to have that kind of that bond or that kinship in terms of, you know, knowing that there's no place I can't go that I won't be able to find, you know, friendship, connections, you know, a place to stay if I need it, something to eat if I need it.
Yeah. So,
You know
you
what I'm
know,
saying?
mhm.
What you
Go ahead,
say, team?
go ahead, fam.
No, but I was just saying like that, you know, just, you know, I think for me personally, no matter where I've gone in the world, that was always a level of comfort, that the fraternity has provided for me. That somewhere, somehow, right? You know, I got somebody that's gonna look out for me, or be able to put me on to something, or an olive branch that I could grab onto in any environment that I'm in. Any.
Yeah. So I've noticed, you know, every time, well, not every time, but there's a lot of times where we talk about fraternities and sororities, there's always a GDI or two that's really obsessed with what we do to get in. They're more obsessed with what we do to get in than what we do afterwards. Have y'all run into that?
I
What do
mean,
you
I think
guys?
those are always fans of the bros.
Yeah, correct.
You guys, what do y'all do? I mean, y'all squeeze bananas in the toilet. What y'all do, man?
Yeah, there's always fans of the bros. I mean, and you'll always have those who, like, the common thing I run into is you'll see dudes that are in other fraternities who'll be like, I wanted to be the bros. Even though there's something else, they'll always say, and they'll get you
Yup.
one-on-one and say, I thought about being the bros, but the bros was too hard, or the bros were this, or the bros were that. And I was like, no, yeah, you're a fan. You're fans of the bros. Like they all treat the bros well whenever you see it.
Don't let me get started on the blue and white fatigues and the red fatigues. And
Yo, I was just about, you know what? I was just about to say that. I went back for a homecoming in the 2000s, and I saw the Sigmas come out in blue fatigues. I saw the Sigmas come out in blue fatigues with blue boots and white laces, and I'm just and I'm like, yo, why didn't you just come holler at the Qs?
right.
Why? Why? You know, why do say like you said? Same thing for the Newts. Same thing for the Iotas. I was just like, look, it's been here since 1911. But you know what? And Brother Rice, you know, my thing is that what is it? Because for me, I never understood it. What is it that scares these people? That scares these people out of the frat? Why are they afraid?
But though, you know, they a lot of these dudes, they be on the yards and they'll see the bros pledging and they'll see the bros really, you know, living it, going through it. And they're like, I could never imagine myself doing that. And, you know, and I've seen other dudes have processes, you know, and I was like, shit, that looks hard. But, you know, they just, I don't know what they think about what happens in Omega that's just that much more different than everybody else's. I mean, of course, we know how it is hard. It is hard. You know, I think when they hear us chant, we chant hard. When they hear us, when we on the yard hard, and that hardness is what makes that enthusiasm. It just spills out on everybody. I think that's what, you know, you can tell that's what everybody else may lack is that pure enthusiasm that pours out of you when you finally get them 8 weeks in, 9 week, 10, whatever it is, and you done, and you just, like I shared before, you spend your first month or two in disbelief that you finished. Just like,
That's true.
Like, are you sure? Is it a joke? Are you sure?
Yo, you know what though? You know what? It's so funny. You ain't even lying, man. After my probate, I still thought I was online.
Right. You go back to cleaning up and picking up. They're like, well, you know you go home. I said, you said that last time. I'm gonna stay here just in case.
They offer you a drink, you like, am I supposed to drink this?
Right.
You know, but you know, my thing is this. I'll never forget, man. It's 1999, and I'm in Virginia and everything else, man. And I showed up, and I was so happy and proud of myself. And I'm like, and I introduced myself. I'm 8 Indy 99, and bro says, "So what?" I said, "Come again, good sir." You know what I'm saying? And then, and we tussled and we had a groove. And then one of the main highlights of my fraternal experience, I'm in DC, I believe, and I'm at the Be Out picnic, and I meet a gentleman by the name of Shannon Jones. And you know what I'm saying? And he, like I said, again, like just on the military side of the house. And like I said, that was one of the most craziest experiences in my life. And then not even that, dog also, he was an armor officer, and then I ended up down there in Kentucky with him for like a year and a half.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, and I'm talking, man, like I said, it's really, and like I said, it's really a good time. And, and especially when you're young and you can road trip and you got that fame, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go somewhere, somebody like, yo, I met your chapter, bro,
Oh, yeah.
or my line brothers will call me and be like, yo, I ran into so-and-so and they said that they met you in Iraq or wherever I bumped into them at. And so for me, like I said, those are the things that I enjoy. So now I'm kind of up in age, in life, you can't partake in it. I mean, some people can, but I can't partake in it, the way that I used to, 20 some odd years ago.
Yeah. I mean, so I mean, I remember, let me see, when I went to Mississippi, you know, and this was like a year after I crossed, a year or two, I think. And I just had like I don't know if I had a keychain. I just had something small. Somebody came out of where? You the Qs? You the Qs? I'm like, yeah. I think I was in the store. I know some of your frat. I'm like, okay. You know, they just get excited like I was a damn celebrity. Is it, you know, where the rest of the stuff? I said, I'm here from out of town. Oh, well, let me take you some of your fraternity brothers. I was like, really? Right. So he took me to these Jackson State bros. And you know, did a little mix up or whatever, talked or whatever. After that, man, that's what really made me understand that everywhere you go and then you prove yourself to be a good bruh, it's nice, man. It's nice.
Yeah,
Same
man.
thing in Alabama at your chapter, Fan Dog. Those some good ass bruhs, man.
Man, it's a blast.
I know they told
Like
you about me.
it's a blast. No. Here's the thing. I have already heard of you before I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So like I said, because it's like I told you, I was already in the orbit.
Right.
Right. So what happened was out of because a lot of my chapter where you will be known is in '92.
Okay, yeah, that long
You know
that
what I'm
that
saying?
line, yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, so all of '92, 95, like they know you, and obvious, a lot of our older chapter Qs, they, what I'm saying, again, they will know you. So I trust me, I know, especially once you mention the gold rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it came. So yeah. So I was, yeah. So nah. So for me, like I said, I was just always in the orbit. And then when my time came around, so my time came around in '99, and I was again I was blessed to come through, and ever since then, and like I said, ever since then I've been thankful. I've been thankful, and the thing about it's not just that too, but one of my personal goals, because I'm doing my best for it now. So like, because we have the aspect of the fraternity where you're out and and you're kicking it with the bros and all of these things. But my goal now is to make it in the next phase of the history book of our fraternity. Right.
Right.
So
Let's
so
go into
when you get to like the two, once they publish like this portion of the 10,000, the 2000s, and everything else, and all of that stuff, I want to make my way. I want to make my way into the history book.
Yeah, that's what I was want to get into, man, because we're looking at 2020. We got a lot of young bros, a lot of bros that are coming in that are we're old enough to be their father, right?
Yes.
So, like I'm kind of curious, and actually I'm kind of concerned in what direction that we're going into with the technology, the culture, the new culture that's out there. Even when we talk about politics, um, is that going to take away from some of the traditions that we have? Do we have to give a little to make sure that things are afloat because they're there, or do we hold on to things to make sure that we don't lose out on what the founders have set behind? Because I'm hearing this from other organizations too, where when somebody says something about outdated, I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I just don't. But
Yeah.
where are we with that though?
You know what though, team? From my perspective, again, as the good book says when it's talking about, I think that there are certain things within our culture that will always remain constant, right? I think so, but again, as time and environments changes, so will certain aspects of culture and tradition. And the thing about it is that from my perspective, a lot of us look at this in terms of the social aspects of it, but for me, my concern is also too, how does it, to your point, how is it all going to work in regards to service? So even for me, like I said, in terms of, getting involved again, because, again, I travel a lot and I move around a lot. And so I'm going to take advantage of the reclamation season that we're in. And one of the things that I'm concerned about is again, service. So from my perspective, like when you look at a lot of our mandates, right before I came into the chat, I remember you discussing health. And so when we look at our mandates, I think that our mandates need to be shaped around, more or less the current issues or needs that the community has. Because there's a lot of Black America, in my perspective, that's still kind of still stuck in the civil rights era, so to speak. And I think, and I think that, from the service side of the house, that we do need to look at things like STEM, technology. We do need to look at things like political involvement. We do need to look at things like health, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, etc. So, I think, and trust me, Art, I get it too. But I get it too. But I think that with some of the things that sound scary, there's also a lot of opportunity. And I think that these young kids are in the right position and are in the right frame of mind to help facilitate positive change.
Right. Because and if you guys want to do any time, Ed and Rice, you can do so about any concerns about the future.
I mean, I think, I have a 19-year-old, so, if he's in college right now, if he decided to pursue the bros, I mean, you're right, I'd be, of course I'm his father, so he'd be in that range. But when you talk to them about those aspects, I mean, especially when it comes to traditions that we have as a fraternity, and I talk to a lot of young bros. I mean, I engage them a lot. I talk to them. I hang out with them. I grew with them a little bit whenever whenever we can. And when you talk to them, I always have to remind them that, you know, like the saying goes, you only face what other men are met. So
Right.
you can't rewrite. You're not rewriting anything, but you're always going to be additive. So what they do and what's different from us is they are super technically sound with finding information very quickly, but at the same time, they need to have what the relevance of the information. So they may get it, and they may find it, but they need to know the meat of it, the crux of it itself. Like, why is it important? Why should you learn it? Why should it be something that's near and dear to you? And so I think we're all from an age where you didn't have to explain things, you just did them. And this generation, you need to explain it and make it clear of its importance for them to get it. And so I think that's really what the change is being able to, be transparent with what's going on so they can be abreast of it as well. If not, you have bros out there, young bros, who just missing the whole boat of being the bros, of being in this fraternity, being in Omega. If you don't do your job as an older bro or as a bro in general of teaching and mentoring and molding and clarifying things to them about why things are important, why things are in this proper place, why things need to be done a certain way. But at the same time, being receptive of how they think and what they know and what they understand, and kind of moving the medium to a place where there is always a general understanding between the two. And that's what I've seen with the young brothers I've talked to now, and I've worked on explaining a lot of things that way to them. So when they face it or when they see it, they understand it.
Brother Ed, you must be at the desk or something, Brother Ed. So yeah, because as people can people see how I kind of go back and forth with some of the young, more of a motivation and encouraging nature. And plus, me and Derek, we're educators, so that's our nature. And matter of fact, that's the nature of the frat education scholarship, right? So the thing that I'm always noticing, and it's across the board almost, that the young, see, back then the young was sort of there was always a wedge between the young and the old, even with the grads and the undergrads, and we're talking about all the different organizations.
Yeah.
But now it seems like it's on steroids, man. Is there any way that you guys think that we can overcome that, or any kind of strategy or combination that needs to be together?
What I think, I'm saying again, because the issue is this, and I'll be, at least from my perspective, in terms of being a younger bro and everything else, or when I was, I think that especially again for those of us that are older, where you have the collision is that there comes a time as a bro, although it's difficult to do, I think there comes a time in your journey in the fraternity where you have to transition out of the undergrad culture, right?
Mhm.
And then when you and so what happens is that when you see the younger cues, you're engaging them from a different perspective. So you're not, so like I said, so the whole thing of, okay, how, for men, okay, you got the girls on lock and you're running the yard and all of these things. I think that for those kids at that level on the social part of it, that's something that for the most part that they could manage themselves. So, so from the older bros, you can learn, like you said, songs, traditions, marches, party hops, and everything else. But when you actually sit down with them, I think that the exchange needs to be a little bit different in regards to what's waiting for them in the future. So when you talk about like building, so when you're talking about uplift or building the relationships that we have in Omega, I think that it becomes very different. Because I remember when I was fresh in the fraternity. So I crossed the 99. I'm in Fort Hood in 2001. And so, my original life goal was to become president of the United States. And I was contemplating, getting out of the army and running for local government. And what happened? I had an older bro he used to be the mayor of one of the towns in the Fort Hood area. He had retired and he was the mayor. And our relationship was that he was mentoring me and grooming me to help me run for public office. So, what I'm saying? So it wasn't a thing of where here it is, I'm in my 20s and I got somebody in their 30s or 40s or whatever telling me that I should be out or more out or how to be out or whatever the case might be. He was just flat out giving me earth lessons, how to make moves in life. And I think that's where the rift is, at least from my perspective and what I experienced. So, when you get older dudes trying to tell you how to be young, and I think that young people can manage that themselves, and that once you have a certain level of experience, that the dialogue between you and them, and in many ways the relationships are somewhat different.
Hmm. Now, right now, somebody, I thought somebody wanted to say something.
No, I was going to chime in on that one, and dog, he made some great points, and I think, I remember being a young bro out and about, and then as I've gotten older, it's like, I would tell the bros, reading the history books like reading the Bible. Every time you read it, you learn something new. Every single time you read it, you learn something new, because there's always something you glance over. And I used to always talk to the brothers about just the essential history of Omega Psi Phi. And I talked about the four founders, and I talked about their relationship, and I talk about you have three undergrads and a graduate brother. One needed the other to be successful. The undergrad and the graduate brother need to be together to be successful. So, and hence, when this fraternity was founded, it was founded on that one unique principle that the graduate and the undergrad brother work together successfully. And they're like, well, what does that mean? I said, well, these three young black men needed guidance from an older man who had been through the storm already. They had an idea and they needed somebody to water it. It needed to be watered. And so they went to the perfect person to water their idea. And then hence you get four brothers who make one idea and one, unique position where the graduate and the undergrad at the same time help create and, build this fraternity to where it is. Where we lose is when we forget that those two things are one. They're one thing. They're
Facts.
they're brothers who came together to make one common goal, uplifting black men in the black race. That was their goal. To serve, to water people, to grow, to flourish, to expand, and to keep growing. And I think that's where, if you don't explain, young brothers will tell you all the history. But I always tell them, explain it to me in detail. Like, what does it mean to you? How does that relationship foster? And they're like, oh, we're going too deep in the pool. Like, no, that's where the pool should start. How do you really understand that relationship? And I think that's where the missing piece is. A lot of young brothers don't understand the relationship because a lot of the older brothers aren't explaining it to them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. How we say, I'd rather see a sermon, right? So when you look at Brother Just and the three young men that he helped. So think about it, right? When they were putting together our beautiful organization, he was guiding them. He was teaching them. Right. And so and that's when you talk about, when you're looking at the multi-generational relationships that our fraternity offers, right? And that, like I said, that's where the respect level comes in, right? Is when you're being guided and when you're being teaching. So he was talking, hey, this is how you manage the bureaucracy of the university. This is how you're gonna get around, this is how you need to get around this guy, and do this and everything else. And so, like you said, so there he was behind the scenes helping these young men, like I said, helping these young men to make moves. And what happens is that for us in a fraternity, what happens is that you get a lot of people, despite generational gaps, who are looking to function on the same level in life, and it can't be that way. So, like, even for me, there was a place that I was, and I didn't kick it with the chapter. Why? Because there was I had a bunch of older bros, right? And and they were talking about kicking it. Because for me, team, I travel international, and then one day, so what happens is I have mentors who are American, who have been senior officers in the military. I have mentors that are Indian, Pakistani, Chinese, you name it. And then one day something hit me. And I said, how come my mentors of other nationalities and ethnicities, I'm not saying we don't have fun. I'm not saying we don't kick it. But whenever I get around them, we're talking contracts, money, who's making moves, what next contracts are going to be out, what opportunities are there, who's working where, who could do what for who, right? And then And then I paused and I'm like, well, how come, you know what I'm saying? How come the guys from my background aren't having the same conversations?
And welcome, brother Tawan. If you want to chime in, we're talking about how we're, how the gap has been much more broader between young and old in the frat compared to back then. And if there's any way to how we'll be able to crack that combination to bring them back in the fold so we can keep the tradition alive. So what's your thoughts, brother Tawan? And he came in undergrad too, you guys. Tawan, can you hear us?
I think he's frozen.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Go on, come back.
But I mean, but brothers, is there, I mean, do you see the logic to what I'm saying? Is there any issues with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm looking at it because when I was really, really active or whatever, there was a touch of that where we were inspired to support Earl Graves and Black Enterprise, go over some business things that are happening. But it seemed like from what I was looking at, um, there was a lot of people that was hoping that you put more money into things rather than you getting opportunities for money to come to you. So that's been the gripe, at least in some of these areas, probably in the early 2000s. I don't know about now, but I think that's the part to where the undergrads have to see that possibility of even carrying on to grad is that you do have opportunities with the other bros where you still be able to flourish, just like these white fraternities. You know, man, not all of them, of course, but I mean, they got quite a bit of a nucleus of money exchanging hands and handing things down to where people that are younger don't really have to suffer as much. We have these programs, but I don't think we expanded enough to where people start really believing it.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying to you. I just think that the engagement has to be different. And that's all I'm saying. So for me, when I meet, if I was to meet a young bro out here that, let's say, he crossed in 2018 or whatever the case might be, I'm not gonna engage him like other young bros that visited us at NE in 1999. Like I said, I'm in a different phase or in a different place in my life, right? And so, again, so of course you're going to go through some traditional protocols. Of course that's going to happen, but the engagement, like I said, the engagement is not going to be the same. I'm in my, like I said, I'm in my mid 40s. So, the idea will be, okay, you kick it with each other, you get an understanding of each other and all those things. And so even for me, I met some young dudes and I was like, yo, this is what I did. These are the moves that I'm making in life. Again,
Dog,
like,
you hear me?
what?
Yeah, we
What'd you
can hear.
say, team?
He was checking if
Yeah.
we can hear.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, I just think that between the young and the old, brothers, it's that it's just it's a thing of approach. Like I said, it's a thing of approach, one. And I think two, it's, again, not only just passing down like fraternal traditions in terms of hop songs and marches, right? Because you don't learn everything, you learn it over time. But then also at the same time, having that door open of, yo, okay, where do you want to go in the future? And and this is how this is kind of how you can get there. And I think that if we had that different type of engagement with them, as opposed to, like I said, for me, it's been, 20 something plus years since I've been a neo or a young bro in the frat. So, my thing is that, you know, engage them, on the level of life that you are. That's just my perspective on it.
Yeah, brother Rice, you want to jump in, Sam? Brother Rice, brother Ed.
No, I think he fell off. I think it's me and you now. Ed is still muted.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just yeah. So it's me and you now.
Okay. So yeah, the thing that I've been really, really looking at is Now, let me read to Juan because he had to go to a meeting. That's why he dropped off. It
Okay.
he says that bros need to humble themselves and receive guidance from other bros. So yeah, that's pretty much a one to others type thing. Um, yeah, because I'm looking at what the time has gone by and how much time that we're missing. Because when you lose a lot of time, that means you got to play a lot of catch up. And and that's the thing. I remember the cappers were talking about the same thing years ago, but their solution was to link up with white fraternities. I don't know how
Yeah.
that's going, but I don't think I ever do that.
Yeah.
I never vote for that because you take away the tradition. Because this is the reason why we have these organizations in the first place. Because other ones didn't, we weren't, either light enough or white enough. So hell, we got our own thing and we grew it. So now you got to put in the same way that you're putting in work to maintain its nakedness and integrity is the same way that you got to put in more work to bring those younger folks in the fold and make sure that they maintain it, because basically you're supposed to really be very selective who you bring in. You
Correct.
can't just because somebody can rap good and all that kind of stuff. It's like that's not a good prerequisite.
You
You
know
have
what though? That is an excellent point, because because even to your point, like when you talk about like conservative values within our fraternity, because you got to remember was that the people that came into our fraternity in the beginning were guys who had potential for community leadership.
right,
Right, so it wasn't about your swagnificance and everything else. What they wanted, guys who were class presidents and high GPAs, and so all those, again, a gentleman, again, as we would call it. And so that is an excellent point, and I think that all of that, to your point, I think that all of that has to be married from the very beginning, like identifying guys that has the willingness to learn, because you got to remember another thing that's drastically changed in African American culture also too is that you have to remember that, especially if you're a Gen Xer, we had more exposure to men than the guys that will come in after us, right? And so now you're in this massive organization with all this type A energy and everything else. And so you might get guys who might not be able to filter through that, who might not be able to handle it.
right,
Right. And that's why I was saying that, a different approach is in, because to your point, you and I came through at a time, or we have the mentality of the time, hey, again, this is what it is. We go to the grass, we wreck each other, we do this, we do that, and that's a part of the culture. And once you get through all of that stuff, to your point, it is all good. I mean, it is beyond golden, once
right,
you get through all of that stuff. But what happens is that the temperament, like I said, the temperament of somebody who may have came from a single parent household, or not even that, or guys who have come from hostile environments. So if I'm coming from a New York or Chicago and I come into this, so there are certain things that if you're coming from those environments, once you get into our fraternity, it's a shock, right? Because you wouldn't expect those things to happen within a college organization.
right. Yeah,
You,
because
you, you, you yeah, I'm listening.
I'm looking at also, when we have children and they go to college and they say, "Dad, I want to be in your fraternity."
No.
Now you, you like you start thinking back. Will he be able? Because it's bad enough that they can't take the same ass whippings we take from our parents. Our parents put it on us back then.
Yeah.
You know, then you start thinking like, man, will he be able to go through all the stuff that I went through? Will he be able to? And you got to remember too, we don't have, their dean is different from our dean.
Yeah.
Their pro fights are different from our pro fights. So you
Correct.
start wondering, like, okay, has the frat, kept this integrity and make sure people pledge properly, or is it something to where I may not see my son, because somebody decided to be reckless? You know, I mean, do you guys ever have that concern, or does it depend on the campus or the chapter maybe?
Like I said, it depends for me because I don't have kids yet. But from me, it would depend on the culture. It would depend on the culture of the campus, right? And I
Mhm.
think, and I what I really do believe is that if you were to bring it back out into the light again as it was before, but again, have a standardized regiment to it,
Mhm.
right? You know what I'm saying? I think that you could. I mean, to your point, I think that you could. You know, I think that's easier in terms of maintaining traditions and everything else, right? So if you, like I said, again, it's something that is something that's managed and moderated, and like I said, so because I think the last of us to do it, what was that in the 80s?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, correct. So for the last of us to kind of go through it, again, above, I'm saying, above the water, so to speak, was back then. And I think to your point, in terms of maintaining the culture and everything else, and all of these things, I think what you do is, like I say, you take it and you bring it back, and at the end of the day, you would have to get a lot of us. You will also have to get a lot of us to come on board. So again, knowing that whatever we did or whatever happened even before then, look, this is what the new groove is. This is how it works. It's like I said, and it's still within tradition, right? Because you'll get those of us who have gone through it before and say that it's not enough.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what
That's.
I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you got the with the MSSP program and all this other things. So it's like, whew, it's crazy, man. Because what gets me, and I know Derek wants to come through. Welcome back, brother. Um, you read. See, I love the history. I mean, we talking about both history books. I go into all that. Matter of fact, some of the older brothers are walking history books, right?
correct.
And when you hear them stories, okay, it's bad enough that you weren't there. For the times where they were hanging out with Malcolm X and all this. It's like, okay, my whole thing is I want that experience again. I want that experience too.
Yeah.
All the great things about the frat, it don't have to be only in the past. Hell, we in this. I mean, we in this. Or I was gonna say something else. We in this, man. So it's like, why are you here? Like you mentioned about distinguished Omega men.
Mm.
If you look at the whole thing, like way back in the day, you got a lot of people that were college presidents, scientists, the political figures, things like that. But now, the only distinguished mega men that we have now are athletes
Mm.
for the most part. Maybe some actors, things like that. Um, what's going on with that? And again, it's not just us; it's all the other fraternity and sororities too. I mean, they AKAs had to be settled for Jada Pinkett as an honorary, that kind of stuff. It's like,
No, dog, they got Kamala Harris, dog.
yeah, that's exactly. But she went through her thing at Howard, but that's another story. I heard we got to get Buddy Lewis up here because he was there. We got to get him up here to talk about Kabla, man. But that's my thing is that, what's going on with attract or getting more of the STEM frat, of the that are distinguished. You know what I'm saying? What's going on with that? How come we're not
issues on a
uh-oh.
facility, a valve, or
Yeah,
whatever,
great.
yes, they would do a breakdown work order that would create.
Okay. Oh, anyhow, was that drive by? Anyhow, that's my
No, I told a couple of brothers.
Oh, you invited? Okay, cool. Yeah, but that's my question is, why are we not getting those guys, or why are those guys not considered distinguished? Let's like that, because we do have a lot of bros like now in STEM. We got a lot of bros in politics. We got a lot of bros in there. So what makes them distinguished compared to the celebrities, or not distinguished compared to the celebrities and athletes?
But that's what I'm trying to tell. That at least, team, from my perspective, that's what I was trying to tell you. Was that, think about it, right? When you talk about the clash between the old and the young, there has been too much focus on the social side of it, right? In terms, like I said, the social side, the be outside of it, right? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. So for me to show up at my old campus and look at my neos and be like, yo, you need to, you need to run the yard and where your babes at, and and all of this. And so what happens is that mentality even influences your recruiting. Right. So it even influences who you're going to decide to bring in. Because like you said, again,
Right.
dudes that could, do. So for me, I had both. Right. So I was on the community tip, but I had I had the swagnificance and all of that stuff. And I was able to come in. And so what happens is that, your future, like, because just imagine, right? Somebody that could be like a future Obama or something like that, on the yard, man, that that dude looks, that dude may not, he may look a little bit nerdy. He may not be as, he might not be as swagnificent, right? And so when you see a bunch of swagnificent dudes, and and you're like, young Obama-ish, that may be intimidating, right? Whether it's the Qs or any other organization.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that too, man. Because some people, only time they only come through when they're distinguished, other than sports, is when they want to be honorary. So I'm
Yeah.
like, man, how come? What happened to the grassroots or from the ground up?
Yeah.
Derek, brother Derek, you want to speak on it?
Can he hear you?
Brother Derek, can you speak on it? No.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but yeah, one second.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, team.
Okay, yeah, he's coming back through. Okay, brother
Okay.
Derek.
Yeah, dog.
Okay.
No, I think we here's the thing. We do have a lot of these bros who are in these fields, who are doing these great things. They just may not be getting the recognition that these other bros, have. We just brought in the president of NCAACP, not but what about a month ago, but that doesn't get published. We have notable scientists and businessmen in the field that may not be getting noticed as well. I think it's all about what we project out there. Well, I don't want to say, oh, it's only the honorary, athletes or other folks that are getting their due, but you know how Omega is. Omega, you know, will shines bright inward and outward. So I could even be, I could even make that statement that, oh, we don't promote our scientists or anything like that. I just think that those who take the pictures, make the pictures, put what they want, what the image they want to put out there. But you know, our think about this, our boss list of our fraternity, the last two or three have all been doctors. That should be noted. They've all been public servants. They've all been either medical doctors, psychiatrists, or lawyers in that same field. That needs to be noted as well, though. All right, a lot of our leaders of our fraternity in our different positions are all, esteemed people. So I don't think we need to look to advertising these other folks when we have someone like Dr. Marion, who's a doctor. We've had different brothers here and there. Brother Lloyd was Esquire was an attorney. We had a lot of different people who we could speak to and look to as someone to look up to in the fraternity. So
Yeah, but again, but like you said, brother Derek, again, and that's what I'm trying to say, right? It's all about what we are. It's all about what we are promoting and what we're pushing out. And
right.
and like I said, my, and that's my thing. My thing is that once you once you get on a certain level or a certain age in life, right? Again,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to operate differently. And what I'm trying to say is that, because remember, so what I'm trying to say is that the overall the because a lot of people look at the overall culture of the fraternity as the undergrad culture, right? So because that's how a lot of people see it. And so what I'm saying is that to your again, to your very point, if you had clear delineations, so again, so like within life or within Omega, again, there's a growth cycle, right? So if you had clear delineations of, okay, as you're moving through Omega, this is kind of like, this is how you function, this is how you operate, this is how you move. Because the reason why, so as far as I understand the white dudes, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, right? So because for the white dudes, their experience for the most part ends in undergrad. Is that correct?
For the most part, yeah. But they have
Yeah.
some other stuff going that we probably not even allowed to discuss. But yeah.
See, so, but that's the thing, right? But that's the thing. So either, but here's the thing. So what happens is it ends in one form and begins in another, right? So whatever that other form is has a different culture, a different modus operandi, a different way of functioning than the undergraduate culture does, and that's probably why they're more in sync.
Yeah, because the other one, yeah, because like what I don't know if we still do it, but some chapters do recognize brothers, profession. They put this way, they treat brothers in their chapter as though they are distinguished men,
Yeah.
distinguished Omega men, and you see the directory and you're like, wow. I mean, we always talked about dentists and we still got engineers, chemical engineers, and scientists and stuff like that we recognize. So
Mm.
I'm always putting it out. And I know a lot of older brothers complain about this more than me, but I think that's probably something that we have to revisit and make sure that we uplift our professionals no matter where they come from, especially if they have achieved something to where it's up there, whether they're president of a college or whatever it is.
Yes.
It's funny. I was thinking about that even back then when I was drawing the. I don't know if you guys got that book, but the book with the Distinguished Omega Men, they were drawings.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
I did that.
Really?
Yes, sir. That was me. That's
Okay.
my name. Look for my name in there. It's in there. So, I was going through it, and it was a lot of old school people. Like Jesse Jackson and Vernon Jordan, all that. Carter G. Woodson.
Yes.
So, and then Dr. Benjamin Mays. So I'm like, I really, I confess, I'm just now getting back active and financial again. But that's probably going to be one of my goals is to, at least level it out. So when you start looking at the distinguished Omega men, or it even be an inspiration to the other organizations, that we uplift our other professionals, especially our how would I say, our STEM heroes,
Yeah.
those that's just an example, our military heroes. We need to start really leveling the playing field, because we're becoming more of a cliche that if I score so many touchdowns, then and I happen to throw the hooks up, then we're gonna put you in the book. We need to make it more level. I mean, what's the brother's name that was Attorney General? I mean, Surgeon General. That's a bruh.
Brother Thatcher.
Thatcher. There you go. Yeah. So that's one example right there. They put him out there. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
that's that.
I think we just do a better job at publicizing all the bros, because we have some prolific bros in this fraternity who are doing great things, and we just gotta, you know, put it in the forefront. I think just putting it in the oracle has to be more than that, because
Yeah.
I know it has to be something that, if you're looking to bring in, let's say, a monetary value from outside sources, you're probably going to put, Michael Jordan, Steve Harvey, and those guys out there, because that's what they know. But it's hard. It may not be a thing when you put Charles Drew, or anyone like that. But you know, our grand council is someone that we need to make sure that we publicizing as well, because within a lot of these civil rights issues that he's been in the forefront with many of the folks who we've had issues with, and he needs to be on the forefront as well. So I think it just comes to how we publicize Omega.
I agree. Like I said, Brother Rice, I agree with you completely, and I think that you and I have been saying the same thing from
Right,
from different angles. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Since we've been on the chat, and like I said, I think, and I think the way to achieve it, to your very point, is not only new media but also new mandates. And I
Right.
think, and what
That's
happens
true.
is,
That's true. I
and
believe.
so
I agree with you on that one.
yeah. And so what happens is when we have mandates, to your very point, when we have mandates that, because like if you look at the African American community, right? So confronting things like health overall. So when you're confronting how to avoid diabetes and hypertension and obesity, right? Then what happens is that allows that leadership to come to the forefront. National mandates for African Americans in STEM, to recruit from STEM, to have achievement for STEM, etc. Then political awareness, financial literacy. So now with these new types of mandates in the media that you're suggesting, now you're bringing these, not only are you creating awareness in the need for these things within the community or the fraternity, but now you're also helping to bring those brothers with these skill sets to the forefront, right? So now they come more or less up to the forefront of the fraternity, as opposed to, like you guys said, like how we all been saying, as opposed to the fun be out portion of the fraternity, right? And there's nothing wrong, and like I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what brought a lot of us here. But the thing about it is that we're all talking about there's a need for balance, and I believe that your ideas of new media mixed with new mandates that address the things that are currently happening in the Black community, I think you could achieve it. Hello?
God, that was on point.
Yeah. So I believe that you and I say, because that's the thing, right? Because even now, and Root, like the Oracle is a magazine and everything else. And, my thing is that with YouTube and all of these things and everything that we have now, we lost the brother again. But I think that with YouTube and all of that other kind of stuff there's all sorts of new dimensions and ways to get information out. Are you there, Brother Art?
But one of the things that I'm glad you mentioned the other part, because that was one of my other concerns of people getting into the fraternity for the wrong reasons, because they want to quote unquote be out. And I'm like, that's not what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really looking at, is that because I remember like when I came in, everybody was obsessed with DMX, West Side Connection. They're all obsessed, and I'm sitting there like, I'm hearing this, and I'm thinking founders, and I'm like, it just don't go together.
Correct.
And I'm not trying to sound elitist. Oh wow, we got a Zeta up in here. We got a Zeta in the house. Anyhow, I I'm looking at like, what is the direction? My whole thing is, what is the direction? We can have our fun. We can do all the things that we need to do to make sure that we uphold all the things that are needed, that are necessary. But my only issue is making sure that we don't lose. Matter of fact, Marcus Bedford, that was the brother, 12D bruh. He was like, look, because I had a whole bunch of ideals. I had a whole bunch of things I wanted to do. He said, I hear you, bruh, but don't mess with tradition.
Yeah.
And that stuck in my head. This was like maybe a week after I crossed.
Yeah.
He said, don't mess with tradition, and that till this day, man, every time I look at things, I'm like, man, is this going to be in the same lines of what, the founders have put out? Because and it's funny, you said that you pretty much a halalistic brother. Me, I did the nation back in the early '90s, so we have that commonality too. Um, and that's the whole thing as well. They have this saying is saying quick moving thinking right down to modern times,
Yeah.
right? And I get it as far as putting technology in and finding different ways to make. That's like getting a new car. Just because you got a new car doesn't mean that you change tradition. You're just using a
Correct.
different type of car with aerodynamics, but it's still getting you where you need to go.
Facts. You still put gas in it.
Yep.
Still got to change the brakes.
Yep.
It's just that the techniques are different.
Yeah. Exactly. And we got a iota up in here, right here. They
Yeah,
coming out,
man.
boy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
shout
yeah,
out to the Divine Nine.
yeah. We definitely gonna do a Pan-Hellenic Council panel. I've been wanting to put that together, but it's just a matter of coordinating times and availability of people. I definitely want to mix it with the brothers and sisters too.
Yeah.
But as far as the frat being or fraternities being elitist, can anybody touch on that? Because I seem like I'm the only one that's always correcting people. But we keep hearing that, okay, if you're in a fraternity and you're part of some kind of like Jack and Jill all the time, or you don't really associate with the real common people. Anybody want to touch on that?
that is furthest. That is the furthest from the truth. Do you know how many ex dope boys or whatever else we got in the? Again, this organization is a rainbow. It is a rainbow of many things. I'll never forget. I'll never forget. We had a state meeting, and we had a state meeting, and because so for the state meeting, I was the vice boss list, and you gonna get suited and booted. Man, the bros got suited and booted, and I walked right by. I didn't even recognize him. I walked right by him, and they like, dog, you ain't cool. You can't talk to the bros because it was like night and day. It was like two different groups of people. And unless you're inside of our fraternity, you don't know that versatility. right?
Yeah.
You don't like I said, you don't know that versatility where, you know, I could be one thing 1 minute and then something completely different the next. And what happens is, again, a lot of that is, look, I see it both ways. A lot of it is hyperbole and hype, but another part of it is that there are people in underdeserved communities that don't see us. Because even for me, coming from the ghettos of Brooklyn and Southern California, I didn't know what Omega Psi Phi was until I showed up until I showed up on my campus, right? And so again, so it's kind of both ways, and I think that the reason why you get that, is because regionally, regionally, either the reach or the investment hasn't been there. So, like, if let's say, for example, if I'm like from the hood in Louisiana or something like that, because we have HBCUs, because the culture is more collegiate in nature, then I could feel the influence of these organizations. But if you're coming from like Detroit or New York or California, those are not necessarily quote unquote college towns or cities that have a culture of education that comes with it. And what I mean to say is this: like, if you're growing up in Alabama or Georgia, you know, by the second grade, you can say, I want to play for the Georgia Bulldogs and I want to be a Q dog because the environment supports it. Whereas if you're growing up in New York City, it's not a college place, right? So if you're growing up in New York City, you ask a young kid what he wants to be when he grows up. He's like, I'm going to the army. I'm gonna be a bus driver or whatever that child perceives as success. So I think the reason why you get these comments is that because there's certain areas of the United States, the influence is not as prevalent enough where it's known by the common man or woman.
Right, I agree with that too. And it's even with my own upbringing. Like I said, I didn't know about the bros until I got. I didn't really know about the bros until I got to college. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of time that had passed before I knew what a bro was or what the bros were or what fraternities were in general. I'll say this. I wouldn't say that. I would say, and I think you made a joke about it earlier. Until I saw School Days, I didn't know about black fraternities, anything like that.
Yeah.
It took me, yeah,
Correct.
it took me a minute to really recognize what a fraternity was. So I had to see that movie first, and then I started paying attention. But
Right.
until then, I had no clue what a fraternity was.
Yeah. I think School Days kept me a little ignorant because how Spike Lee did, I found out later. I'm not even gonna talk about him. But it just made me focus on the wrong thing about fraternities and sororities, just put it that way. And that was a thing to where I kind of like brushed it off. And then when I saw, like I said, Different World, it kind of gave me just a better scope as far as just the college environment and the goals of what people were doing as far as education, but at the same time having associations. So, it's weird is because, I met a lot of bros. It was how can I say this? Like KP, Larry Korn, Mark Singleton. I didn't even know that they were all fraternity brothers until I just asked one question. I was like, "Are you in a fraternity?" Yeah, I mean, they're just all. It's weird, man. It's like, okay, so I guess that's what we do a lot too. When people ask you fraternity, you start breaking down history, contributions, programs, stuff like that. Just after one question. And so when they told me that, and everybody gave me the same answer, I was like, I'm sold. I'm like, I'm in this. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how hard that shit was, but I was like, okay, I'm this far. I ain't turning back. Forget this, man. That's the thing, and that's what I was saying is that you know so much of the history. No matter what you go through, you got to make it because this is a part of a legacy that you want to share with your, share the legacy with your children, your family, your friends, all these particular things. So that's why I never have a moment where I have to hold my head down just because I have the letters on my chest. Are you Omega? Oh man, I don't want to talk about it. No, I never had that situation.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, y'all heard of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, right?
Yes.
Bruh.
Hmm.
Okay, this is when I was already, I was soldiering and I wasn't in the frat yet. And, he did his whole thing or whatever in the mosque. This is in Compton. And afterwards, we were sitting around and I said, Dr. Khalid, I heard you were Q. He said, yeah, I'm a Q, always gonna be a Q, He showed me something. I think it was some kind of I don't know if it was a ring or something. He showed me something, and so because it's been a while, this is a long time ago, and so I said I'm thinking about pledge of fraternity, you know, and he said I tell you what, he said the only fraternity is Omega Psi Phi, and if I catch you trying to pledge any other fraternity, I'm going to personally kick your ass. That's what he said. He didn't smile. He had them piercing eyes. I was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I never forget that, man. He had a green suit on with a kente cloth tie. He told me that, So for those people that are gung ho about, trying to say that the frat is this and that, yeah, Dr. Khalid is part of the frat. Now what?
Yeah. Correct. But that's what I'm saying. Again, no resource. But that's my argument. Look, no resource is infinite, right? In its entirety. And that's what I'm saying. So even like I said, and this is what I'm talking about, even in terms of like changes of mandates and reach and all of these things, right? And so now you would have things that would give you different that will now give you different proximities to the community, right? So if you're talking about like, again, and one of our mandates is to seek, equal funding for schools and everything else. Now that changes the proximity of your engagement in the community, right? And now, like I said, things now become a little bit more different. Again, entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, understanding gentrification, etc. Now it all becomes a little bit different. And so, like I said, it changes the demographics of people that you're going to reach out to, right? And so, and let's say, for example, like if we went to, now you're going to these poor public schools, and as Omega Psi Phi, for these kids, you're wrapping this all up in one thing, and you're putting it out as something called Opportunity Week, right? And then in Opportunity Week, you got these kids, like even like for example, growing up in the hood, every time the Army or the Air Force or anybody would come, it was always about enlisting. Nobody told me that I could be an officer, right? Or one day become a general. Like I said, it was all about enlisting. And so, like I said, I think that with new types of programs, new types of information, you'll be able to probably cast your net on different groups of or demographics of people that you haven't previously been able to.
Yeah, so is that something that we're really missing out on? I mean, because if you go too corporate, is it possible? So we got some more people coming. What's going on, fam? Welcome, welcome. I mean, if we go too corporate, is there such thing as going too corporate when it comes to the frat?
No, I'm not talking about like it's not necessarily. I'm not talking about like going too corporate. I'm just talking about like I'm talking like again different mandates, right? So now because remember it'll look different on different levels. So I don't know, maybe on the graduate level it might feel that way, you know, a little bit more, or corporate or whatever the case might be, right? Because there are resources that you have as an adult that you don't have as a young man. So it could feel that way, but on the like I said, on the undergraduate level, again, it's just really, like I said, it's just really a change of mandate. But once you get in the grad chapters and an international headquarters, you know, again, that's that's a different approach.
Now, welcome, Q. Welcome. Let me see. CP1, Gamma Theta. What's going
Got
on with you, Q?
gotta let you know who I am, where I come from. What's up, Q?
Oh man,
What's
you
up,
know we.
Dog T? What's going on with you?
Hey, doing my best, man. Enjoying basking in the day of Omega, you know.
Yeah,
Group.
I'm nailed up too. But you know what's weird is this is my third year wedding anniversary too.
Okay.
So I can't forget any of this now. I have no excuse.
Right. You gotta find a creative way to fold bros into to your anniversary without getting dogged
Oh,
out
brother,
by
what do you
your
think I'm
wife.
doing? What do you think I'm doing now?
You,
Good
you,
luck
And
to
yo,
then
you,
it,
yo,
dog.
CP, I was, my type man in the frat is out of Kentucky, man. Grapevine. You know what I'm saying? We call him Grapevine. I met him over in Kuwait. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So so he was made down there out of Fort Campbell.
Fort Campbell, Fort Knox, bros.
Yeah. So he was like I said, he was made down there, and then I was in your neck of the woods in the early 2000s. I was down there because I'm a retired armor officer, so I
Okay.
was down there in Radcliffe and Louisville.
Yeah.
I tell all of the 50 bros that I know that instead of saying going to the grass, just tell the bros you plead the fifth.
Right. That's new, dog. I need to tag that and give you credit for it. I need to coin
Just
that one,
tell.
dog. I plead the fifth. Yeah.
So if the bros charge you up and you don't know, just point at the green and say, "Bro, I plead the fifth."
Right.
the physical fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Point
we
point
remember that.
point to
We
one of
remember.
my deos because I ain't doing nothing.
Look at that little gray beard bro right there.
Yeah. What's up, dog? Derek.
I remember when
Right.
he had no hair on his face. He had no hair at all.
Right.
Oh man, it's getting that. It's getting to that, huh?
Yeah, dog. 25 years in a month, dog. That's what
Oh,
25 years in the
you
fold
my
do for you.
parallel. You my
Ooh.
parallel. Okay,
Yeah.
95. Yeah, I'm fall 95 myself, bro. So
Okay, Rule. What chapter?
tall chapter. Me and Derek Rice are chapter bros.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, T.
we.
I'm from New Epsilon, down at Alabama A&M.
Yeah. Yeah. Been down there a
Yeah.
few times. I used to go down. I used to hang down at KD real tough down at UAB.
Yeah.
Little D
Okay.
brother.
Yeah, that's Norris. Norris is that's his neck of the woods. I invited him up here too. They call him Grasshopper.
Okay.
Yeah, I invited him up here too. So yeah, I invited quite a few bros, but you know, this is work time for most people.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop this to some of my chapter bro because them Negroes ain't doing nothing. Hold on. I'm a
Yeah, because we just dropping like, you know, what the frat means to you, concerns, you know, things that we want people to know about the frat,
yeah
that kind of stuff. This is Founders Day, you know.
for
I'm in
sure.
awe. Every time I see pictures even, I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
We deep.
You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
You know, I mean, because I have a strong fascination with Ernest Everett Just, man. A strong fascination. I mean, I'm not in science or anything, but I just like the way that he put those pieces together for the three undergraduate brothers to make sure they shape and mold this stuff the right way, because that was very key.
Hmm.
Um, my whole thing is just him dying so early.
Yeah, back in that day, man. Um, there was a lot of different variables, man, to health and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, but I do share a zodiac with him. We're both Leos, so
Okay.
I give him that. We got a bruh up here, Alpha chapter. Okay, his name is Will Burton. Okay, so we put the bruh light out there, and they found us.
Yeah, I'm texting it out now, man. Hold up, I'm
Yeah, just send him the link.
seeing if I can get a few bites for bros who ain't doing nothing right now at work. Sitting, most of us work from home, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Zoom, like my students. I just give them a task for the rest of the class, and then just do their own thing, and I don't have to babysit or nothing. I
Right.
just wait for someone to say, "Teacher, I need help." And I'm like, "What you need?"
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what you
So
want to share with us? What you want to share with us? Because I don't see too many fifth D bros, man.
yeah, where you at now?
I'm here with Derek, but I'm not that
Down in
active.
Cali?
Yeah, I'm in
Yeah,
Cali.
well, the 50 is one of the smallest chapters. I mean, smallest districts, man. So it's not a lot of 50 bros to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, but we cover a lot of space. You know what I mean? For the small amount of us, we cover a lot of ground. You know,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I don't know too many 50 bros who have migrated out west. Honestly, I may know maybe one or two.
Yeah, we got a fifth bruh in the chapter, Rob Bickerstaff.
Okay.
So
There's a couple of
he's doing
side bros out here.
Side, yeah. I know
yeah.
the Foreman worked for Mercedes for a while, but he moved.
Yeah. There's another bro. He was out here. I think he just moved back to North Carolina though.
Okay. Yeah, side's deep. So they stretch pretty wide as a chapter. Plus, black colleges, they generally have a more diverse population to begin with. They got bros coming from everywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. We got Charles.
Who's that? Charles Nichols. That's my chapter bros. See, my chapter bros is coming through. Hold up, get to the
Yeah.
mic a little bit, dog.
Look at
Give me
Chuck.
a second. Watch Gamma Theta flooded, dog.
Look at Chuck on here.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Ada bruh from Mississippi. He should be coming through any minute
What's up,
now.
dog? Charlie.
He can't hear you.
He got to fix his mic.
Charlie, turn your mic up, man.
Private chat. Okay.
Charlie.
Yeah, fix your mic, fam. Hey, just hit mute. Hit the word. Let me see. Is he on mute?
He over there like a senior, bro.
Yeah, you say he got his shirt all buttoned all the way up.
Let's see. We got some more bros coming through. Yeah, we got to be deep up in here. Let's see. So we got another bro up in here.
That's my brother. That's my brother. Corner.
So we got some more fifth up in this bad boy. All right.
Y'all mic on? Your mic on?
Let me I need to I don't know
We
if
can
it's
hear you
working
now.
or not, man.
We can hear you.
You hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Look like you in the darkness.
Yeah, I know. Now coming to the light, Keena.
He slipped that in there, didn't he?
You turn that light on. I got
he slipped it in. Got him. Put it on him.
Yeah.
So my brother, who's the brother who's hosting this?
Yeah, this is they call me Art. But put it this way, I'm the artist of the frat, man. When you come out here to the 12th to say I met the artist of the frat, they know who you are. They know who I am.
Got you. So you might want to do another intro for the new bros that have instituted.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever's coming in, we just getting bros are coming through in and out. sharing any kind of stories you want about the frat, about your experiences, your take on it. Before you guys came, we were talking about how the young and the old have this huge gap compared to back in the day. I'm like I said, I'm fall 95. So it's much more deeper now. So we're just having concerns about how do you bridge that gap even
Yeah.
more, and then even trying to stay within the tradition that the
Hmm.
founders have left behind, so it won't stray so far away.
Right.
Because some people are always trying to change what they have just to appease to the young, so they won't go
Yeah.
away. So I
Yeah.
just want to see everyone's take on that,
I
because
think.
we're not the only ones. All other fraternities and sororities going through the same thing. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, the fraternity is a microcosm. It's a microcosm of real life. So if the bros can, if we can find out how to do it, we would definitely be the blueprint for everybody else to follow. And I think this is a widespread issue, not just within Greek organizations, but just in families, schools, corporate areas, churches. There's that gap. There's that generational gap, and it's wider than it's ever been. You know, um, and I just think there's a huge paradigm shift that's happened with technology, with way of
Hmm.
thinking. There's a lot of different things that attribute to it. I don't necessarily have the answer to it. I don't think it's a one swing, a one stroke fix. But I think dialogue is key. Um, Empathy is key on both ends. Um, the youth and the younger brothers need to empathize a little more, and the older guys definitely need to empathize and broaden their spectrum of thinking, um, and understand that it's things change, man. You know what I mean? Like our parents thought we were crazy. They thought we were the first. We were kind of like the first generation of hip hop.
Yeah, that's true.
So just think about how our parents looked at us when the first time we came in the crib, a bop in NWA or some madness, that how they looked at, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
but there's that level of empathy and patience that you should have as an elder, man. And I don't see it enough. I honestly don't, man. I see a lot of older elders uh, impatient and talking down to a lot of young brothers. Now, don't get me wrong, some young brothers are on some crazy stuff, man. But you gotta have that empathy, man. Because if you don't have that empathy and that patience and that soft heart, the communication is closed altogether.
Rue,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rue. See, we all said, because before you came in the chat, CP, me and D Rice was saying the same exact thing. The
Mm.
same, like I said, the same exact thing, because it's a shock to the system, right? Because everybody, we come from different eras, right? And so we come from the era where love was kind of shown through hard knocks and everything like that. But for
Right.
these younger dudes, life has been a tad bit different. You know what I'm saying? So whether you don't know what their home life might be like, or what types
Yep.
of backgrounds and everything that they've come from. So if, and like I said again, if I came from LA and I've been gang banging, and somehow I'm fortunate enough to go to college or into the frat, once I get in, like I said before, I might find things that are radically reminiscent of my previous experience, and that's not what I'm shopping for.
Yeah, I agree, man. Wholeheartedly agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm listening to you.
But no, I just think the dialogue is key, man. And uh, graduate chapter here, we've done a few things here recently just to, and it seems like a lot of the dialogues taking place during COVID, because we've been forced to rethink. We've been forced to kind of look at ourselves and you know, now more than ever, we've had opportunity to sit with ourselves and think, you know, and Zoom is a huge platform for that. So we've had like a few Zoom calls where we've, you know, tried
I,
to bridge.
ironically, it's called Zoom.
Right, Zoom. You know what? Rude.
Go ahead, dog.
For the bruhs. But so just opening that dialogue, man, having those uncomfortable conversations. You know what I mean? And I think we even did that with our chapter, Charlie. I don't know if he's still on, but we've done that a time or two with our chapter, man, because you're gonna always have those generational changes and swings. Even with me being, you know, fall '95, there was a bit of you know, a bit of differences and some fall off between like the early '90s and the mid '90s and
Yes,
late '80s. You know what
sir.
I'm
I
saying?
remember.
You know, like '95, dog, we came in like
After the
right,
moratorium.
yeah, and we came in like right, you know, because the frat ain't always been the way it's been. Like the physical aspect of it and the madness, it ain't always been like that. But the late '80s and the early '90s brought a whole new wave of bros and a whole new way of interrogating and then underground pledges. You know what I'm saying? That stopped in the late '80s, early '90s. So we was like one of the first, you know, waves of brothers to be pledged underground. So there was a discrepancy, and and brothers that came in before that had something to say with the way we grew. You know what I mean? So
Right. And the bad part about that, CP, is you talk to the young brothers, they don't understand why it is the way it
right,
Yeah.
is.
I heard stories about
And
Vietnam.
if you don't explain about to the young brothers about why it's this way, they'll think this is just the way it's supposed to be.
yeah, yeah,
Because you have bros from
And
Vietnam
it
going
wasn't
that
always
crazy.
that way.
Yeah, because that was the thing that I was, I'm listening to bros that came through from the 60s and the 70s. And when you hear about a vet, a bro that pledged and then later on went to Vietnam and came back, it's like, please don't let them see me.
right.
Like, please, because that was a thing. I mean, they were explained the way they were explained. That's why I say I'm big on history, man. I love sitting there just listening with to the bros. And the good thing about listening to the bros, they always give you references to look up. I
Mm-hmm,
love that part,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm able to go places and then, talk and even share, pass it down, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm filling them up. So
yeah, yeah.
Cleveland, I tell you how I met these brothers.
no, you haven't.
So me, CP, Charles, we all went to school together at Western Kentucky.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Charles was the brother that actually picked me up from the airport my very first day in Kentucky. And when I got off the plane, I'm from Compton. I had on a Pendleton, some khakis, and some Chucks. And he told me, nah, you can't wear that here. Now, I didn't know when he picked me from the airport. Remember, this is back in the day, you can go to the airport, you can come in the airport, right? So he was in the airport. So I didn't know that it was real weather outside. So when I got outside, and we in Tennessee, I got outside, it was probably about a foot of snow outside. It was freezing.
You come in Chucks.
I'm coming in Chucks. And he was like, nope, you can't wear that. So he takes me to the Super Walmart. I had never seen a Super Walmart before.
Yeah.
He took me to a Super Walmart and we go shopping. And from then on, I knew that was the dude I wanted to hang out with. That was the dude I wanted to kick it with. Because he didn't know me from Adam, but he took me shopping. He's like, you got some money? I said, yeah, I got some money. So he took me shopping. I got my first big jacket. I had never owned a big jacket before. I got my first big jacket. I got 3 packs of thermals, underneath thermals. I got some snow boots, and I got a couple of pair of jeans. I had never owned any of that stuff prior to ever leaving the state. And so he got me outfitted. And so every time I needed something, I called him. He would take me to the store or take me somewhere, take me here. He never asked for nothing in return. Never. He just said, "What you need?" And he did it. And that's where I was like, well, I don't know what he doing, but he wearing this purple and he taking me everywhere, and we ain't never had no problems. Even when I tried to give him some money, he never took it. So, then of course, me, CP, we played together, and then, then I ended up transferring. But I'll tell people to this day, I never forgot the kindness I was shown from the brothers. That would make me want to be the brothers. Just from that. From him taking care of me that much, and all these brothers when I was up there took care of me. Yeah. Now it made me want to be the bros. Yeah. So when I got my opportunity to do it right, then that's when I did it.
It's crazy because you knew me before I was the bros, Derek.
Right. But remember, I was trying to be the bros spring of '95.
You would have actually played before you would have made me.
I missed the smoker because they had it in the duck. I didn't know where the duck was, so I'm walking around trying to find it. I talked to a lady, and the lady said, "Oh, you missed all them guys. They just walked out the back door. I don't know where they went."
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something right, man. The bros ain't shit when it comes to that, man. I didn't even notice that. We would take the flyer of our smoker and put it in the bathroom of the football stadium during the spring, right? So you could tell the school that that we took the flyers and we put them up. But the craziest thing about the bros for me, and I gotta ask everybody this question. I already brought it up earlier. How come the bros were the friendliest people on earth until I asked them to become the bros?
Oh man. Damn. I can't even say it in that. Oh well.
Hey, I want to take a second to say what's up to another one of my chapter brothers, Drew Jackson.
Drew.
I see you had your mask on for a minute. I didn't know if I should put mine on. I was gonna put mine on, but you took yours off. I feel a little more comfortable now.
Nah, man, I wasn't even realizing I'm over about to pick my daughter up and stuff, and I'm sitting there like, "Hey, man, you can take your mask off, cuz."
But this
What's
is
happening, good friends? Happy Founders Day.
Happy
Founders Day.
Damn.
We got Drew. We got some brothers. These brothers are from the 12th D, man, Compton chapter, and then Charlie's on here, and they got brothers coming in and out, man, and we just grooving, man.
Nichols.
We got an Alabama A&M bro too.
Alabama A&M, my bad, dog.
I'm from the 7th DQs. I'm from New Epsilon, out of Alabama A&M University. 8NE 99 Bishop. They call me Bishop like Tupac and Juice. I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay. Don't shoot me, cuz.
The juice.
But back to your back to your question, man. The bros are just the bros are just cut different. Our organization is so unique, man. And, like you said, we the friendliest, but until you actually get into the organization, and then we firm up a bit. And I think it just has to do with just the type of brothers that we know that are actually in the organization, man. We definitely have a force field, and it's just protection. I think we that instinct for us to kind of firm up when people say they want to be the bros is our protection mechanism, man. We want to protect, the sacredness of our organization, and I sometimes find myself protecting brothers that I know ain't cut for the frat. I'll be like,
Right.
That's real.
Yeah, hey,
That's
could
real.
you go into that? Could you
Right.
go into
That
that
feel
for
me?
no,
those people?
no,
Yeah,
that
go
that's
into
true.
that.
You
Yeah,
feel
like
like,
for those people that you don't really see being bros.
yeah, man, some good, I got some homies that's good people, but they just don't, the frat is, it's just so unique, man. It's just the perfect, pot of tenacity and enthusiasm and the interrogation aspect of the frat in itself does not align with people altogether. You know what I mean? So I found myself protecting family members and brothers that I know because I know they ain't cut for it. And I've seen some brothers come into the fold that wasn't cut for the brothers, and you don't see them no more because it just was not cut for them, or they weren't cut for the frat. And those are the brothers that you don't see. Those are the brothers that get their letters, man, and they don't come out. Or they
Yeah,
hide for the
Right.
bros.
yeah.
You
Two of my
know?
LBs. One is an announcer for ESPN.
Yeah. You would
Oh,
never know,
he's
huh?
yeah, he's an announcer for ESPN, but he went through the same stuff we all went through. I'm like, how come you ain't? But that's another story.
wow.
Yeah, look for Chris Walker on ESPN.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm
Brother
calling him
Kim.
out.
Hey, can I chime in on that, brother CP?
Huh?
Kev
Can
Dog.
I chime in on that with you?
Hey, this is an open forum, man.
Yeah, bruh.
Art, dog. I'm sorry, I'm taking control of your forum, dog.
Do your
But
thing, dog. That's how we do it, dog. It's all
I
right.
see all my chapter bros coming in, and I'm trying to give them
This
some.
this the this the fifth D live stream now.
Right.
You might as well call it a fifth D live
Hey, that's
stream.
how we roll in,
Appreciate
man.
that. Appreciate that.
We put it out there. We come rolling in, team.
So this
Yeah.
is
But
this is
nah,
a physical fifth. Go ahead, fam.
just
See, I invite
piggyback
two
on
50
my
brothers, they take over.
Yeah.
Y'all can
Tony
only
from
bring some
Stretch
well,
Five,
but
barbecue
dog.
too,
We
man.
small, but we
Barbecue,
take up
some
a lot of
bourbon.
room.
Yeah, dog.
It's because I love y'all, so I'm gonna invite y'all first.
That's all right, man. You should have been 50 to begin with, so hey.
Well, that's why I called you first.
So what you got, Drew?
hey, bros, before I say the point, man, I would just like to wish everyone happy holidays, the essentials of these holidays. Continue to be safe. This is a beautiful platform. Hopefully, when all this it definitely be more essential for us to get on the road to visit each other. But just to piggyback on what Brother CP was discussing, one thing about the frat for me that I love is that it meets you where you're at if you're blessed to get in the fold. Like, there's all different type of bros and there's room to grow. And the brothers show you love on all platforms, man. And those brothers that choose not to represent, I don't know why, but that's the beautiful thing also of Omega. If they get to that point that they want to come back around, we're still there with open arms. So with that being said, man, our organization is very and I think it's very much needed in today's time, especially in our community. So man, y'all keep doing what you're doing in y'all communities. Happy Founders Day. I see brother D Mall, Bossless D Mall in the house.
What's good, bro? I ain't know what the hell I was clicking on, man.
Me either.
D-Mall.
I just
This
ain't.
Founders
I was like, man, that look like Drew talking. What you want me to
D-Mall,
talk about? All serious.
I gotta get a
Hey,
chance to meet you. Congratulations on your wedding.
All right, my dog. What's going on, good dog? Got the West Coast brothers, and I appreciate it, dog.
yeah, dog. Yeah. So let me ask the bros this, cause
Hey, bros, mute
Sand
your line.
Dog
If y'all
chime.
not talking, mute your line if you're not talking right now.
Yeah, some of you
Okay.
guys got like Martian speaking in the background, but and welcome again, bros. Happy Founders. Um, the like I pretty much have a regular YouTube channel here, so I pretty much represent the bros. I say a few things to make sure that people know where I come from. I'm known as people that know me. I'm the artist of the frat. especially I was really out there in the 90s when I got married. I got shot in the foot. No, but that's another story. Not literally, but that's symbolizing marriage. Anyhow, um, what I hear on these spaces, man, is that every time you're in a fraternity, you mention a fraternity, either you're part of some secret organization or some kind of elitist organization where you don't deal with the common man or the common black person. Can anybody speak on that? Because I'm the only one that's always saying, "Hey, man, where you get that information from?" But I mean, have y'all heard that before on some aspects when it comes to being in a fraternity?
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. And I mean, I'm first of all, greetings, brothers. Happy Founders Day. I hope everyone's having a good day. But you know, just and we are all the above. We are the elitists, but we are coming. We are the ones that walk with the common man too, because we're all common ourselves. We
Right.
gotta understand. We gotta understand. We just ascended to another level, being into the greatest fraternity there is. So, with that being said, it's how you carry yourself. I mean, I get that. I get that sometimes where your fraternity they have a notion of what a fraternity is, but it's our job to tell them, hey, no, this is what we are about. This is what we believe in. This is what we do. This is how we carry ourselves. And you kind of have to dispel. Each one has to dispel that rumor, that myth, and continue on with the being who you are as a man. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, bro.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
Hey, brothers, I'm holding up a book.
Oh, let me put you up here so everybody can see you.
Behold.
You gonna get me taken down, man.
they gonna ban you, bro. No sponsors.
Hey, man.
Hey. So
Hey,
this is just
hey, man.
for the record. This conversation is open to the public, right?
Yes, it's open to the public. Everybody
Man,
remember,
I'm
this is
so
open to the public. It's a live stream, so you gotta watch what you say.
Come looking for you.
Stuff that they can find in the library, we should be able to say it here.
Right.
Oh,
That's
hey,
that's no secret.
that's
That
good to
Yeah.
know,
I
man.
think the
So
biggest
before
threat,
we
if
start sharing
somebody
too,
was to say something on that nature, is that an we're educated and we're aware. And when the education becomes our practice, our daily life, then that's the true threat. But as far as the secrecy, there's no secret to us. We out here to be seen. But at the same time, like brother was saying, it's how you move and how you carry yourself, and that's the biggest piece. So that draws their attention to what's special about this group. What's why is he so awakened? It becomes an interest of conversation, and the more they study you, the more they understand where they can probably infiltrate you or whatever the case may be. But Omega is so great, man. It's just beautiful just to see black men grow on all platforms, man. Either in personal life, careers, in their children. I share a story from time to time, um, and it was very impactful to me. I had just crossed, and I was in a store, and I had on my letters. And make a long story short, older Caucasian woman came to me, and lo and behold, um, her husband, who was a black man, had passed, and he had always told her that if she ever saw those letters, that was a friend and she can entrust in him. And just the way she spoke about him and organization and her acknowledging similarities she saw in me just by me um, being kind and being respectful, it just warmed my heart, and it set a bar how I want to be perceived and known when my day comes to be called home. And that man, even though it came through his wife, uh, I was just thankful to experience that moment with her, and I thanked her for acknowledging me because she let me know I had more work to do, even though I was new in the organization. She put another level, another stamp of what this organization means. And that was very early on. I crossed 03, and I want to say that was at the end of 03, early 04. and it's still a heavy on my mind as far as what I need to be doing personally. That was a great moment in my Omega life.
Anybody else want to share? You know, the Omega experience by the physical fifth.
We got another 50, bro. Julian, Julian, good to see you, bro. I need to put the disclaimer out for the 50 brothers as they enter the room. This is a public platform. This is a public chat, so it is not just bros on the line. It is the world.
It's on YouTube.
Use your discretion wisely,
bro.
Yeah, this is a tutorial, a Founders Day tutorial. Yeah, so more people trying to get on.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, he changed up the shirt on him, took off that doo-doo brown.
Yeah, man. You see him?
He took off that Odell Beckham shirt.
Although we acquired 6-3 though. While you playing, what your Cowboys doing?
Your shirt ain't doing nothing. Doing
doo-doo. Yeah.
Well, we gotta count. Yo, my Giants gonna take that division anyway.
Man, you can have it, man. We don't deserve
y'all can have that division. That division is terrible.
Division needs to just fall.
You only got to win 4 games.
Somebody gonna be 4-12 making the playoffs with a home game.
Better not.
That's like
y'all gonna be
that
happy.
division is like a food stamp you want to get back. You don't want that. Just give it back.
We just gotta hope that purple NBA team will repeat another championship. I know this will be all like, oh shit. But hell, I was happy in the mug.
Yeah. Nah, man, we up and coming, man. We up and coming, man. I just want the bros to pray for my New York Knicks, man. My pops is 64
Oh, good luck
years.
on that, fam. You got what's it called over there? What's his name? Durant? You got Durant over there now, so I don't know if your Knicks can get past them dudes.
Bruh, my father is 64 years old, and the last time the Knicks won a championship, he was 17.
Damn. Whoa. And then what you call it, Harding is really trying to push to get over there too now. Come on, man.
Yeah, but they going to the Nets, man. They you know, again, like I'm from Brooklyn, and I'll rock the jersey, but I grew up on the Knicks, man. I just, is it
good
too
luck
much
with
to
that,
ask?
fam. We'll pray on it, man. We'll pray for you, man.
You know what I'm saying? Is it too much to ask? So, before I roll out, because I'm going on with GG in an hour and a half. Yo, for CP,
I invited him. He didn't come. I invited him.
Okay, yeah, because he's doing the show tonight. But the for CP and D-Ball 96, man, what y'all using on your beards, man? My beard game is trash.
Hey, I can't disclose that on this public forum, man, but hey, but no, man, a lot of it's genetics, man. You got to be patient with your beard, bro. I don't know how old you are, but I had to be patient with mine. But there are some things you can do, like biotin. You can take biotin in the pill form. You can take biotin in the oil form, and that'll help strengthen and it'll help with the thickness of your beard. Biotin, bro. Biotin okay. and eating, getting all your minerals in, man.
Yeah, like anything with fish, like fish oils and stuff, supposed to be good for the hair.
Yeah. Sea moss, man.
Sea moss, dog. I drink that every morning. People sleep on sea moss, man.
Yeah, people waking up though. I think everybody in here has heard of it.
Yeah, I do the sea moss with a little stevia in it, man. It wakes me up.
For sure.
Good before a workout. People don't know about that.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Natural mineral.
No, I'm a stay clean face just like y'all first met me. That shit's hard to grow. That shit.
Yeah, D Rice is ageless. D Rice is ageless, man. He look the same since I met him.
And I'm old.
But I'm gonna go get ready I'm gonna catch fire and burn up. But man, root to the Qs, man. Y'all look good to be 109 years old, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the physical fifth, man. You know, much love, man. And God willing, when I'm in the States again, you know, I'll pop up and beg for some chicken.
Yeah, man. We gotta get that Tennessee recipe and the Kansas recipe for barbecue. You know, we gotta get that.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so peace, bros. Peace to the panel.
Rudy dog. Yeah, so the other thing I wanted to touch on, since we got the bros here, and brother coming in was for those brothers that are trying to come in, like we ran out of space. So hopefully you know, yeah, we got more space. But
Cleveland, I gotta go. I got another meeting to go to.
What do you
CP,
think,
I call
dog?
y'all,
Do you
dog.
think?
Yeah, hit me up, dog.
I'll call you, dog.
Do you think,
I'll call you, dog.
All right, dog.
Dog.
Rudy. But the other thing I wanted to touch on is our politics. You know, do you think that that becomes a problem within the frat or fraternities in general? How we deal with politics? Because I run it. Yeah, like, you know, some people say, well, you know, since these guys don't roll with me on my political side, then I'm just not even talking with them. I mean, do we have that problem? Do you have that problem over there in the fifth?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So when you're talking, just clarification again, politics.
Yeah, like the way that people run. Yeah. Well, no, we don't get into that part. We're talking about like the mainstream politics.
Oh, I mean,
not the bruh politics. I'm not even getting into that.
You mean like if you're a Republican,
Like
Democrat?
Yeah, Republican, Democrats, you know, elected officials, you know, all these different things. Oh wow, my chapter bruh is here. Really? Yeah, like do you have that issue over there in the fifth?
Well, I would say I haven't experienced such. Like, you know, with me being bossless here at Theta Omega, one of the chapters here, everyone's pretty much like aligned, same like out the district, certain issues, you know, Republican, Democrat. I don't see us getting to a whole lot because, you know, of course we nonpartisan organization, like side with one way or the other. Like when we go with voter registry, pretty much just getting people out to register to vote, like, you know, with the unbiased.
Yeah, somebody got some noise going. That's cutting off the brother from speaking.
That's brother.
I think that's Saeed.
Is that Saeed? Mr. No Joke? What's going on, big dog?
What's up, dog?
Oh man.
Look at
What up, big dog? Looking wild and shit.
DOS effects Q's. The Compton Q's. What's up, Compton?
Oh man, good to see you, bro.
What up,
Sorry,
big
but
dog?
I was trying to figure out how to mute myself, bro.
No, just tap the microphone.
Shit, I don't see it.
Yeah, he probably in the gym right now. You tell the truth, dog. You in the gym, huh?
I just left the track.
I knew it. See, he's always working out, man.
Dog set me out when I came perform back like about 10 years ago. I had a tour in LA. I performed at like Compton High School, man, and shut it down over there. Dog set me out, man. The Compton Q's in the building.
Rudy Roo, man. But brother was explaining. Go ahead, Saeed. You want to respond?
No, I was just saying we had a good time. Dog came to our chapter anniversary one day, and the next day he was at the high school. I was like, dog, this is in the stars.
Yeah. My God. Good to see you, bro. Man. Always good to see you, doggy.
Likewise, King.
So dog, you were explaining. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just was saying we don't see a whole lot, like in terms of the Republican and Democrats. Like once we get out there do voter registration, we're just getting out there to get people, just create awareness. But when you get into individual, like policies, things of that nature. Pretty much, on the same accord on how we moving as a fraternity, especially as a chapter, and what we don't and what we
Let
don't.
me mute him up. Let me mute him up. Okay, go ahead, y'all.
Yeah. So we pretty much on the one accord in terms of what we back and not back, but I don't see a whole lot of different divisions going on with inside like particular parties amongst the bros, because I mean, truth be told, I really don't know a whole lot. I mean, either you had Trump or somebody else. Everybody opposed to everything that Trump represents. So anything outside of those politics is like, okay, it's pretty much one-sided anyway. Now when we get inside of politics on the local level, we pretty much run on that same accord as well, because we know who's doing what in the city. Theta Omega just so happen to have a lot of plug brothers in the city and in high places with connections. So I don't see it a whole lot of different type of divisions. I would say maybe if you talk about the Divine Nine, that probably is a lot of question as a whole from the Divine Nine and just the bros.
Doug, I got back on my LB. He trying to jump on now. You see his ass walking all crazy.
Yeah, he had some words for us, so because I'm helping him out with his mute button.
He don't know what that is, dog. I don't know why you trying to talk to him.
Hey,
you see walking with it in his hand, right? You see him walking like that.
Yeah, dog. Now, the reason why I asked this question, because we got a Divine Nine member, as I guess right now we can call her the Vice President of the United States, which is the AKA. And you had a split. You had some brothers saying that, hey, consider her past and she wasn't for us. Where you have people saying, no, that's in the past. She's Divine Nine. She can be good for us. That was the two conversation I had with people just in the Divine Nine. So I was just wondering if anyone had their take on that situation, because she used that a lot, quite a bit,
Yeah, I mean, but it's politics. We often like to call politics politricks, poly of tricks, man. But
oh yes,
you never can really. I wouldn't say you can't trust, a politician or whatnot. Only thing you can trust is their word. And right now, it was either her or the other party. So I believe people I would even say it's the lesser of two evils, as opposed to people actually consider that would be the best option that we had and give her a chance. Like, why not give somebody a chance? It's almost, you got to look at it as, what you got with Trump. We don't know what we got with Biden. We don't know what we got with her. But you know what you got on the other side. So why not give the other side a shot, regardless of who she was? I thought it probably would have been interesting if she wasn't Divine Nine. I mean, I don't know how much how active she is with AKAs or whatnot.
D-Mall talking, but I can't hear him.
You can't hear him?
I can hear him.
Yeah. So I don't know how active she is with the chapter or her sorority or anything, but I mean, it's politics, man. We got to trust that they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and if they don't, hold them accountable just like you do with anybody else, regardless of whether or not she D9 or not.
Yeah, man. That they playing ball on a different level too, man. All of that's cool for face value, but a lot of that doesn't really matter when it comes to her affecting, policy and change. She's got so many different whirlwinds of influence behind her outside of our community, man. She's on a hot plate. So I think it's good from a figurative standpoint for Black sisters to see, for young Black sisters, for my daughter to see people like that on a in a position of power like that. It does speak volumes. But at the end of the day, man, when they sitting in them corridors in the White House, dog, it's different. It's different, man.
So now, I mean, I guess this is the best time to ask, since we got a slew of brothers here. Now, half the time in these spaces, people talk about relationships and not really having that much of a pool of sisters to choose from. So they either date out of the culture or whatever.
Uh-oh.
The thing is, because from what I gathered when we were, I guess coming up in the frat, I dated a Zeta, dated a AKA, never got a chance to date a Delta, but always had a slew of different professional women I can, frequent with.
Not a slew.
So I'm just
You said a
wondering,
slew.
like,
What happened to the Delta?
Dog said a slew.
man, the
What
Deltas,
happened to
man,
the Delta?
they were too busy. I don't know, because I came in '95. They were too busy trying to keep us from dating AKAs, but not giving up anything in return. So it was like, hey,
No, that's the fun. You got to get all of them.
So I mean, East Slide was good with the Deltas, so he probably had all of them. My thing is that we did have we did have a some choices of dealing with either women within our group or women that are somewhat influenced around it. Would you say that the fact that we're in a fraternity keeps us from scratching our head and wondering, okay, because I'm hearing a lot of guys say they can't find anybody, so they're going to go elsewhere. I mean, the fact that you're in a fraternity, does that affect that notion that people were saying?
It might be different out on the West Coast, man. It's different out there, man.
Oh, explain, please.
Because it's plenty of sisters here, man. It's plenty. Now, it's just a matter of what what kind of woman you want to be with or align yourself with. But it's different, man. And I know the West Coast is a little more diverse, and brothers are a little more eclectic and a little more.
I like how you call it eclectic.
Liberal.
I like how you call it eclectic.
Y'all brothers are liberal out there, man, with y'all selection.
We not liberal. We just put them all in the basket and around take one.
But you got brothers out there in the South that have just as much as complaint than anybody out here. So
yeah,
I don't know about the 5th district area, but we got. I mean, bruh.
The fifth got women everywhere. Don't let
it's women,
shit
but
like that. It's like women. It be women everywhere.
It's women. It's like again, where you want to go, what kind of woman you want, and you're gonna want a woman that's gonna hold you, hold that fire to you, hold you accountable. You're gonna want a woman that's gonna make you better, all those things. I mean, there's women everywhere. You know what I mean?
Because the reason why I'm bringing up the frat.
Can I interject real quick?
Go ahead, dog. Go ahead, dog.
Can I interject real quick? So growing up, it was always known that if you wanted to get an old school car, you got to go all the way down to the country somewhere, because you're going to get a car that only had one owner, that only been on 1 or 2 roads. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, in LA, you'll go from San Diego to damn near Lancaster, and from another place you probably passed 2 states, and you wouldn't even know if you didn't know you passed LA. All I'm saying is it's a lot of drivers in these cars and a lot of roads. That's all I'm saying.
Sound like Prince.
We talking about women, right? We talking about women, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, because what I did remember when I first crossed, and I was going different places, the fact that I had some kind of nail on, I always got action. Always. It was always something to where they found some kind of excuse to talk to me, and then all of a sudden we're dating. And I'm just wondering, is that I don't know if anybody else had that experience, but I had fun with that. I ain't gonna lie, I had fun.
That's
the GDI.
Dog.
Yeah, exactly, dog. But the GDI, bruh. I mean, the stuff that I'm hearing, I'm like, man, if I had a hat, I'd take it off for you, dog.
I mean, everybody love the bruh.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah,
So I mean, we talking about Asians, Latinas, sisters. Then when they see them letters, it's like, okay, you heard of us. Okay, let's talk.
Yeah,
You know.
I think
So
the bros, when you talking about the bros specifically, it offers like that. It offers up that perception of tenacity, that tenacious spirit, and I believe women are intrigued by that because they see those protectors in the nature of that spirit. Not only protectors, but the riders, the ones who are going to get it
Oh,
done.
brothers, damn me about to start back again.
They feel that
Hey,
energy.
I'll let y'all later.
something happened. Something happened with his. He said his meeting, or was his reception?
No, I gotta get back to this damn meeting. I thought they was talking about something special. Let me get back to the meeting. I'll call you back.
All right, dog.
Well, yeah, I just
Yeah.
think it's more so the energy that the bros bring that attracts that opposite sex. No matter, black, white, red, yellow, green. The energy of the bros is just, is nothing like it, in its rare form, And even on this side, like the graduate side of things, graduating from like a Q dog to an Omega man, like many of us have done. Got a lot of grown women still feel what that energy was like when they was undergrads. You feel what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
And
Yes,
they
sir.
know it, and they still want that energy,
Right.
And
Hey,
yeah,
anybody ever heard of the expression, the term a side buster?
A side buster. No,
A
dog.
side buster. So in the cowboy days, you got the dudes that rob the bank, and then you got the dude that farm, right? They call them
Mhm.
side busters. Now, in our day, we call them side busters, right? But they side busters, right? So
Mhm.
only thing I'm saying, when I was growing up, my mom used to say, a woman don't know what the hell kind of man she want until she get older and get all the men that she like, and they the wrong mans. Well, what the Omega Psi Phi, we have a innate ability to we have the manliness machismo, you know what I'm saying, and the street credibility of many of our members that have matriculated from urban areas into college, some out of the army or whatever, but you still got a little street element or whatever in some situations, but then you still got that intelligent conversation. So we got the mix of the bad boy and the articulate intellectual, and I think to the female persuasion that's very appealing, and that's something that is characteristics of us. But it's also that's another thing that those letters indicate. Like, yeah, that's a real dude that can talk.
Nasty man. Hey, Q's.
now that was real.
Yeah.
That was real talk right there,
Hey,
bro. Like,
Q.
absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Roo. So we
Big
got a new
Nasty. 2.5
we got a
93 San Francisco State. Root to the Q's. Happy
Roo
Founders Day,
dog.
everybody. 109th Founders Day.
Rudy Roo. Happy
I'm here, my
founders,
fellow
dog.
brethren, preaching that knowledge,
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We got another 12
talking
here.
about
And
link and everything.
he's really big nasty. Y'all saw him in action, y'all.
Big.
Oh my God. So what's going on, dog? Did you hear some of the stuff that we were talking about? We have a
Yeah.
lot of physical fifth up here, dog. This we call this the physical fifth live stream.
Oh,
They
okay,
they took over.
okay. Rule to the physical fifth, 12D enforcers on the line, Rule.
Rude doggy.
Oh, we got somebody else coming up. Oh, we got D Rice coming back here again.
Wanted to say what's up to Saeed. No Joker. Heard him getting it in.
Yes, sir. I'm still inspired.
Zai on the move, dog.
I call them muscle cues, be honest, That's
Dog on the move.
Dog was
yeah.
at the Vegas Clay bare feet the whole time, man. He's an
Yeah.
animal, dog. He's like nature. Epitome. Dog's out. Eternally out for you.
Dog, you know what I find interesting, D?
What's up?
That you went out to Cali, right?
Yeah.
And met Saeed. Dog took care of you, right?
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was like 2007, 2008, probably 7 or 8.
Derek, that was before I had even know you was the bro.
Yeah, I know. And the bad part is in 2007, I had moved to Dallas, so
Okay,
I didn't even know he was out there visiting. But then Saeed called me and said,
Okay, Saeed.
"Dog, I knew a bruh. I took care of bruh who works in Kentucky." I said, "Who?" And he told me that, but I hadn't met him, so I didn't know.
You didn't know because you had left right before you got there, y'all.
Yeah, I left before he got there, and I moved back.
That's crazy, man. That full circle, and then I went out to the play, and then I think was it Charlie told me?
Charles came up and slapped me in the back of the head.
Yeah, but did I just run into you, dog?
No, he called me. We was in the lobby of your hotel.
Right.
He called me. He said, Carl's about to come down here right now. I said, call him to come here right now.
Yeah.
And we sat in the lobby, and we had to have this whole conversation like I was an escaped slave or something. Like I got stole off the plantation. I had to explain how I missed it.
Right.
But and it came back around.
I'm
like, damn, that's been a long time. Cause I had a gang of brothers out there. Like I missed all them brothers.
Yeah.
I remember.
Telling that story.
Did you guys? There was I think it was a Tennessee State probate show, and the brothers were wearing. They were dressed in all gold, even gold skin, and they were all chained together. That was. I don't know if anybody's seen that. That had to be like It had to be like 93, maybe.
See, we would have had to see that on film or VHS.
Yeah, that was probably, if y'all give me, because I know I have it on VHS. What I probably do is try to convert it to digital so I can email it. That was probably one of the outest probates I've ever seen.
You said TSU, Tennessee State?
Yeah, Tennessee State. They weren't all. I mean, they had the whole. It was like a whole slavery type thing.
Yeah.
But they came out, bruh. I never. That's why every time I think of the fifth, I think of that.
Rosai.
Yeah,
bruh.
Yeah.
But that right there, I never got a chance to tell anyone from there. Kudos, man, because that was. Because it kind of got you. It wasn't just it wasn't just an admiration thing. It was like, man, it was just deep.
It was soul wrenching, huh?
Bruh.
Yeah.
I know Sean probably saw it. But did he leave? Oh, he left. Big Nasty's gone. He'll be back. But yeah, the other thing too that wanted to ask about, what makes the frat different than the others? I already know the answer.
You know the answer. This is for the pub. This is for the people watching, right?
Right, exactly.
We already know.
Yeah. What makes I mean, I can only speak. I'm biased, you know what I'm saying? I can't speak for any other organization because I don't know any other organization. But I think the overall enthusiasm and tenacity of our fraternity makes us unique. To the outsiders, we looked at as kind of like as brute men, you know what I mean? Overzealous, wild and crazy. Group of men that love to have fun, that know how to party. But a lot of that speaks to the personality of our fraternity. And we just so happen to be a very tenacious group, and that transcends through not just through the social aspect, but in business and sports. Anything we do, we take on a tenacious with a tenacious spirit, and we're it's part of our culture. We pass that through our tradition. How to be tenacious, how to walk with that spirit of strength and tenacity. So yeah, definitely unique, man.
Yeah, I would say that's right on, CP. What I would add to that is And I'll just share the story after I say it. It's friendship and brotherhood, pretty much, is what separates us. But I share that because I remember it was like when I first got to the yard in '95 when I was a freshman. You know, I played spring '96, and actually CP is my ADOP. Man, I went to a party, and it was bros on the yard that haven't seen each other in a long time, visiting bros too. The way that they greeted each other once they saw each other, I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to men hugging. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And being just like, it was like a Jubilee Damon type of atmosphere with everybody. And then the Kappas and Alphas walked up because it was, I think the first party of the year or something like that. And it was just, the energy was weird. They kind of just went on about their business as opposed to the bros when they greeted each other that they haven't seen each other in a while. The love and friendship and the brotherhood and the energy that they showed toward each other. I wanted to see what that was about because I never experienced that coming from where I come from. You know what I mean? You beef with each other. Like if it's that many black people, or you're going to find a way to beef somehow. But to see that love and brotherhood and that friendship, just in an instance, is pretty much what separates us in my eyes. Like, like TP said, I'm biased, but and that holds dear even today. Like I'm bonded with, guys that I came through with even until now, 25 years later, like we are blood brothers. And I can't say the same for everybody else who came up with us in other organizations. When they see us out, they're like, man, y'all still hang together like nothing's changed. What's supposed to change? Nothing. But now this is just my story, and that's not every instance in the frat with different relations. But to me, it's that friendship and that true brotherhood that we swore that oath to, that different, and it's quite evident amongst the general public.
Anybody else?
I agree.
Oh, go ahead.
I agree, man.
Move to that.
Real brotherhood, real true brotherhood, and we hold each other to that too, man. That's one thing. It's not just a walk. I mean, it's not just a talk. It's a walk, and that's what makes our fraternity so unique, man. Because there is fire that you will be held to if you are just talking the talk. You have to walk the walk in Omega if you want to be, amongst the brotherhood, man. And I'm grateful for that. Definitely grateful for that.
Indeed.
Now, the other thing I want to, anybody else want to touch on this one before I go into the next subject? What makes the fraternity different from the others?
Bruh, is that granola?
Yeah, don't forget there's people watching. This is for the public, so you want to.
Yeah.
Well, just be yourself, but just know what you're getting into. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, if anybody want to touch on that, but the other thing too, and because people have definitely have had mixed marriages, not mixed thoughts on this, but it's kind of weird. But you have a lot of white folks that want to be part of this frat.
Yeah, hey.
Quite a bit. What do you guys take on that? I mean,
can I say something, please?
Please go right ahead, fam.
Hold your mule.
Take your time. 86.
Black History Month's not here yet. Black History Month's not here yet. So let it all hang out.
And remember, you're on a public forum, man. So
on a public forum. Okay. All right. I understand the attraction of why I guess a white male would want to be a part of our organization if they were raised around, or in college some way where they're a part of the urban or the demographic of friends possibly, you know, they grew up, you know, in urban city spot where they had black friends. They went to college. They were kind of, you know, saying still had those friends or gravitated towards those. Maybe dated a black girl, and they gravitated toward, you know, that what we, you know, saying express and we embody. So I think that, you know, in the business mindset of, so I think that necessarily it's a certain type of, I guess, white boy that is gravitating to us. You know what I mean? And I can see why they would be attracted. But as far as just me personally being transparent, we created Divine Nine, where organizations were created for us because we wasn't getting the ability to participate or be in those other fraternities prior to. Even though those it's changed now too, some white fraternities do accept some, but some do not. So I guess that's all on a principle thing, and I guess their bylaws, how they're founded, and you know how do they draw the line? I guess that's never been drew the line, you know, as far as our bylaws all the way down to our constitution or something like that. So we don't know if those other white fraternities have, you know, really, you know, unwritten constitution, like, no, there's no black people that, you know, is allowed. So I see why again, but I think it's a certain type of white boy that would attract us to it. And at first I wasn't really cool with it, but you know, as I'm getting older, I mean, long as they exuberate and carry the principles of the brotherhood and all that, I'm cool with it. You know, but again, I can get deep also too. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming to conspiracy theory too as well. So that's why everybody told me to shut up. Because they know me.
Yeah,
they know me. So I was politically correct on that one.
Since 42 for sure.
I was politically correct on that when I think.
But
Bruh, this
I
been
always,
white
I
dudes
always,
in the
I
frat
always say that
forever. But since I know for sure since 42. However, to become a part of this organization, you got to believe in the Negro. And I think that we need something that's for us and stays that way. So, you know, there are younger brothers that's after me, before me, that have been Anglo-Saxon, but for me, it's a no-go.
Yeah, and
because they have
and
options.
uh
They have plenty of options, you know, and
right,
we don't have options, and that was the whole
right.
premise of starting these organizations, was to give the so-called Negro options in that day. So now that we, you know, created this long line of great brothers and this great tradition, and we, you know, created this, you know, this awesome platform. Now people want to, you know, kind of, I'm not going to call it infiltrate, but you know, they want a part of that soul, you know. And I always say that everybody wants to be the bros, kappas, alphas, sigmas. They all want to be the bros. They all want,
All of them.
everybody wants to. Who does not want to be a superhero? Who does
Yeah,
not want to
everybody's
be,
wearing fatigues.
you know,
Everybody's wearing
It's
fatigues.
that superhero,
man?
bro.
Yeah, and I say that in a,
Captain America.
right. I say that, but I mean it in a sense, because we know that the Qs are the epitome of manhood on, you know, college campuses and in the community. You know what I mean? We are that bar of manhood.
Yep.
And not, you know, not to take anything away from other organizations. You know what I mean? Some good brothers that are and that are alphas and kappas and sigmas, no doubt about it. But um, there's nothing like our organization. I'll just
Yeah.
start there.
Hey, look, I'm gonna sum this up just by stating this. I always used to say this, and it still holds true till this day. You will always hear an alpha or a kappa, sigma say, you know, I was going to play as Q, but they weren't on the yard. You would
Yeah, I
never
heard that too.
say I was going to play as alpha, kappa, sigma,
I
But
never heard a bruh say that. I never heard a
right.
bruh say that ever.
You would never
Right.
hear. That's another part of the difference. In terms of what CP and Corlin was just speaking of, like CP just said, they have options. We never had those options, and you can pretty much back Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian, whatever you want to call them, or whatnot. You can back them up and back them down just by telling them the history and explaining the history and why. Because even in our yard, 1968, we was founded, chartered in 1969. We had a Kappa Q Club because they wouldn't allow. I mean, they didn't allow any black fraternity still, so we had to go through a lot there. So you could ask our founders who's still living, and we talk about it. Don Offit, one of our founders. Matter of fact, this is a public forum, so I'm not going to get too deep, into that. But they're very, very appalled by the fact, that notion of all the blood, sweat, and tears they put in to even get our chapter charted on a PWI, and for have somebody to be welcomed inside our fraternity that easy. So I understand that, and I'll help that. But then I had a moment of truth when I was we have a men equality mentoring program here in Louisville, and Drew can attest to this. It's Shawnee High School. It's the urban community, like Colin was saying. There's some white boys in there who we mentored. All they've been around their whole life since junior high was the bros. We teach them how to tie ties alike. We teach them life skills alike. One of them ended up being a freshman at U of L, and he sent me an inbox and said, "Mr. D, I just want to thank you for being my mentor since I was in the 8th grade and all through Shawnee. And I'm pretty sure, if nature have it my way, I will be a great Omega man one day." So at that particular point, I thought to myself, as a man, how can we deny that man if that was his walk and his story? Or will we discriminate against him? And that's the only thing he knows. Or we tell him that he's not worthy because this is a black fraternity. So it's kind of a weird situation sometimes. But like Corla was saying, in that aspect, that is pretty much the only time I'm totally 100% on board. That's the way it happens. That's the way it happens, because his mentors, the people who provided, life skills for him, mentorship, knowledge, they all been strong black men. And why would he be denied that fact if that's what indeed he wanted to do? So,
and let me add to that a little bit, Brother CP and Brother D Mall, basically coinciding with Brother CP stated. It's not that I don't agree with them being in our organization because of their skin color, but the opportunities. We don't have many opportunities, so we have to hold on to what we have until we get more. But at the same time, that's the hard part of leadership as far as who deserves to be in, who does not. But with our chapter, our one of my professors was the original chapter advisor, and he has a deep love for our chapter, and he's white, but he didn't want to join. He didn't want to join, but he still had an admiration for our organization, and that camaraderie that him and I built really helped me as far as finishing his class, because we conversed on another level as far as him educating me on some things that I didn't know about my organization, and me entrusting him to teach me, because there's a different level of learning when you know someone actually cares for you.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that piece out there, that just because you're not a part of an organization doesn't mean you can't help that organization. Doesn't mean that you can't be a friend of that organization. I think Malcolm X said it best. There's a difference between being a friend and being friendly. And that man exemplified friendship, not friendly. Not friendly. And a lot of times, the other oppositions have a mindset of either competitiveness. This ain't no competitive type of thing we're discussing. It's about survival. And if you know you have the upper hand and you really care about those other organizations or other peoples or other entities, you use your power to help them survive. So that's what that man exemplified to me. because he wasn't trying to join my organization. He helped start my organization, but at the same time, he respected it and gave me knowledge at the same time in school and in my organization.
Mm.
That's powerful, man. That what you said, man. Um, you don't have to be a part of the organization to support us, and that's
Right.
one of my biggest things is that
Let it be.
I know a white boy or a white man, um, really good guy. Work with him really close, real cool, man. We used to hoop together. Um, know his family. And he
Which I what
asked.
I remember him. What's the name?
Uh, I don't want to
No
disclose his name on the
disclosure.
public
No
on the
Nah,
public.
disclosure.
He, he
I
might.
This message
get it,
will
man.
self-destruct in 3 seconds.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Right. You tried to pull me. You tried to pull me in that hole, D, didn't you?
my bad.
Lawsuit,
We,
Right.
defame
Right.
hold
character
we used to hoop.
Fair use.
on a
Fair
public
use.
forum.
I used to
Right.
hoop on.
Right. He might work for Mitch McConnell now, man.
My hand shaking. My hand shaking.
What you say, CP? What's his name? Huh?
You silly boy.
Go ahead.
But
They listed too. They listed.
right. But good guy, man, and he probably would have been a good bruh. But again, back to that one of the first questions you asked, brother, at the beginning of when I first joined this forum, you asked, what did you say? I talked about protecting, protecting brothers that I don't think are fit for the organization. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I felt like I was protecting him and his interest by not ushering him into our organization as a Caucasian man, because I know
Yeah.
that it would have been a hard road for him, and I don't think he would have been signing up for that, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Um, and again, hang out with the bros, man. Like the love that you have for the bros, it doesn't have to change. You know what I'm saying? You can still hang out. We can still fellowship. You can come to all our grooves, all our parties, all that stuff, but you don't necessarily have to be a bro to do that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know
I
what I'm saying?
always found it kind of, when you get far into the history of all these different organizations, I just think it's kind of disrespectful for them to want to coming like that. Because basically a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, like we talked about, was founded on this fraternity.
Yep.
So
Right.
therefore, we're supposed to forget all that and think that everything is okay. Now you can come in and the thing is, I can probably see it if because we still struggling. I mean, we bruhs, but some of us are still trying to make it and all that. So I could see if they contribute to some kind of successes to where it's not even that big of a climb anymore, but we're still striving. The family is still in disarray. So all of a sudden they say, let me be a part of it. I just don't see it, man. I just
Let,
don't. Maybe I'm
let me
old
ask you this
fashioned.
though. Let me ask you brothers this, because there are brothers, there are few that are Caucasian right now
Yeah, right,
that have come through, and there will be more. So
right.
if there was a bruh who happened to be Caucasian in the room with us right now, because it could very well be a white brother that clicks on that link and joins the forum.
Mm-hmm.
How does our conversation change? Do our conversations change?
No, it shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
I
It
mean,
It's gonna change for me, baby.
he should
It's gonna
understand where
change
we
for
coming
me,
from. If he did his
for real.
history and all those different things that he was supposed to do, he should definitely understand where we coming from.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I see
So
we got another 50 bros on here. Ready, Red 6. We got Tandy 9. 9.
gangster,
What
I
up?
ain't
What up?
feeling that. I ain't feeling them Tamahoos in our organization.
hey,
We've been through too much as a
hey,
people.
Red,
We still going through it. I
Reggie,
don't see it.
Reggie,
Go ahead.
Red. Hey,
Go ahead.
Public forum.
gang, Tandy and Reggie.
Okay.
I just for the
baby.
record, this is a public forum. This ain't just bros. This is a live chat, and it's more than just bros watching. This is like
But it's a
a live
question though.
stream. I just want to let y'all know
it's
that.
a Founders Day tutorial
Right.
for the
Want to let y'all know that
GDI.
before y'all go too hard. We on a public forum.
Rated PG, not
Right. We got to
13
keep it
either.
rated PG on here.
Hey, but that's a question. It's an open forum, and
I'm
it
gonna
ain't
tell y'all.
happening. I don't feel it.
No, I feel you, bro.
Take
Rated G.
y'all can speak. No.
You know what? You know, Ready Red and Saeed got the same energy, man. These brothers, boy, don't they?
Well, you took the same thought out of my mind, D. I was thinking the same thing, cuz.
I met Saeed, I said Ready Red all day, vice
All
versa.
day.
I gotta meet that brother, man.
Oh, Saeed, he should be coming back. What happened to him?
That's Derek Sayers. That's Derek, big dog that's on the line in the middle of the chat. He's from Compton. He came to Western to play football back in 94 when I was a freshman. So he came. He stayed for almost a year and ended up going back to Compton and transferred to another college out there. Fast forward to the Clave in Vegas. I didn't even know he was the bros. And Charlie said, "Come down to the lobby. Somebody down here. Come down to the lobby. It's damn Derek. He's the bros." And Saeed happened to be his Sands. And D had already met Saeed, so it was just crazy, man. That full circle.
Now it's a trip. Unless and before we go into the next part, did you guys anybody else want to chime in on I guess white folks wanting to be in the fraternity?
I think that I think that we should keep, we have to protect our legacy. We have to protect the blackness and the soulfulness within our organization. I can only speak from my perspective. I have allies that are white, and I would definitely encourage them to support the fraternity, but just support from the side. You ain't got to
like
support
Malcolm.
from the inside,
What he said, he can help, but you can't join. Remember Malcolm said that?
That's my take. Now, if there was a white Q in the room, you know what I mean, who happens to be a bruh and knows the secrets of Omega, you know what I'm saying? I have to, I have to respect that in a sense.
Right.
But it would definitely be, I always felt like it's a little different, But that's just my take, man.
Right. So the thing that because somebody mentioned the clave, I'm just do a quick backstory. After I crossed in '95, I was like most of us, we jump in and we gotta be able to please everybody because we want to prove ourselves. Because hell, I never wanted people to think that I'm just in this for nothing. So the '96 clave followed. And so I was on the committee, and we talked about having the clave in the 12th. This is Los Angeles, '96. So, I'm thinking like,
Becky
you ordered something?
Becky can't say nothing. I'll take whatever you give me.
All right.
Okay. He trying to get some extra food. Anyhow, the thing is that I was on the they called the march down. I don't know if they still call it that in the clave, but where everybody come in and compete. And I was thinking like, if you're in the 12th, we're not going to pack the house with just bruhs. We need like an attraction, because the 12th, it doesn't have a HBCU or anything like that. So I was like, we need to bring an attraction in here. So I said, why don't we bring George Clinton? They're like, man, you crazy, man. This the bruhs. It's going to be packed, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, man, we need to bring an attraction. And then finally somebody listened. His name was Chris Tyus. He passed away. And he was like, okay, let's go for it. He said, you know him? I said, nope. And so what I did is I just, I talked to Willie Benson at the time. He passed too. He gave me some contacts or whatever. So all I did was I called his wife and his daughter, told her what we needed. They were like, cool. So long story short, George came. I don't know if anybody came to the '96 clave, but when he showed up, bruh. Man. Anyhow, reason why I'm bringing that up because him, D.L. Hughley, Anthony Anderson, and this other dude, they're bruhs now, supposedly.
Yeah.
What's you guys' take on that? You know, when we having these like we had Stephen A. Smith before and all these other Ray what's the dude from the
Hey, Lewis.
Ray
Hey,
Lewis? There
brother
you go.
Art. Brother
Yes,
Art.
sir. Yes, sir.
Farrakhan.
Uh-oh, we can't. Oh yeah, we had Farrakhan. Yeah, Farrakhan came through. Yeah, so you're Borgin. You're Borgin.
I was surprised about that he already had interest. So there's a lot of established brothers who are
Q,
in the
you're
fold, and I think
Borgin.
it's a benefit for the organization.
Q, you're Borgin.
Yeah,
You
your
you
story drew somehow.
you do you doing the what was that 2 Chains? You're the
Auto
Borgin.
tune.
Auto tunes.
Painting over there. But
Yeah,
so I
go ahead, y'all.
know Anthony Anderson, been knowing him for quite some time. I was doing my thing in music. So he expressed back then that he wanted to be the bros. He couldn't do it at HBCU at Howard because they was off the yard. This was like around 2009 2008, 2009. And then he was going to go over about 4 years ago. But then the bros put him on the shelf. I believe so because he had like told people, you know what I mean, that this is what I was going to do. So full circle came around. I understood why he wanted, how he was initiated. Well, not initiated, just honorary. So we just had the last clave here earlier this year or in the summer or whatnot. And this was like really, really big with the brothers in terms of how we bring in and induct honorary members and what is that criteria? What status must they have held? Because a lot of brothers say, well, I mean, it's got to be a hierarchy to an honorary bruh. Now, if you're on a Farrakhan level, we see that with the work that this brother put in just for the community. Or if it's like say for instance, back in the day, a Marcus Garvey or Barack Obama or somebody, I'm just telling you the arguments that brothers had. So brothers felt that we were just resorting to B-list type of celebrities who actually should have just went through the MSP process, just like Eddie George just went through just a couple weeks ago. He went through the MSP process, but we brought in the honorary bruh, Ted Ginn Sr.'s father, Ted Ginn, his father, and Bruss was just like, okay, who is he to make him honorary status? Why couldn't he have went through the MSP process just like everybody else? Why couldn't Anthony Anderson went through that process? D.L. Hughley went through that process. So I think having honorary Bruss are cool, but it needs to be a higher bar and criteria as opposed to just, inducting anyone in because they have status, some sort of celebrity status. That was pretty much the consensus of the brothers at the conclave. But my take on it.
Yeah, anyone else? I think Brother Red is back. Yes. Yeah. There's so many bruhs that got different, different takes on it, especially this kind of process. Because I remember this old Steve Harvey and Wani. I was there during his crossing. Played pool with him afterwards.
No neck.
Go ahead.
So you ain't giving no neck?
Nah, man, dude is big. Dude is big. He like them Arkansas bruhs, big. But nah, he was matter of fact, I guess he bonded with a
He
lot
would
of
have got
bruhs
next
from
in
the.
the fifth.
Right. Oh, of course, he knows that. He was late. He around the laid back bruhs. Yeah, we out here in the 12. I'm out in LA area.
Right.
So it's a whole plethora of different people here. But it just kind of like the Twilight Zone in a way. Because when I was commenting about this earlier, where when you look at the distinguished Omega men, like if you look at online, most of our scientists and notable people that's like your college presidents. We're looking at the 50s, 60s, and all that. I mean, we got Ronald E. McNair, and we have that. But further down, when it started coming to recent times, it's mostly a celebrity or an athlete. So I'm like, I mean, is this what we're gonna fill up our notable Omega Man with? Is just people that's been just crossing honorary? I mean, is this? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a national thing, or.
And I think that's, well, we probably want to use a little discretion on that conversation, just because I
No,
think
because everybody else is going through the same thing. All the organizations going through the same thing, fam. It's not really a, because this stuff is like on websites. These are like anybody can find this. So
for sure.
my
But
yeah my oh, go ahead.
but
Man,
then there
people with their noise.
I don't know who that is.
Who's that? Okay, go ahead, fam.
There's no perfect. I'll just say this: there's no perfect situation.
Right.
Now, the celebrity stuff, the I think that's a political pool.
Okay.
I think the frat is definitely not necessarily a for-profit entity, but there are there's some interest tied to chapters having making sure their bank accounts are where they need to be. I'll just say that. So I think a lot of it has to do with that.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on that one there?
I mean, personally, I think that if you skating, you always going to have that title with me. You know what I mean? But if you go through, the proper pledgeship, hey, that's on your conscience. But at the same time, if you come in with your celebrity status, and you're not uplifting the frat and networking within the frat, then what good is it doing the frat?
Right. Right.
Because there's millions of bros who's trying to do some things that may need an investor, or just may need a job, and if we don't have that platform to where they're saying, hey, look, I'm looking for an artist, or I'm looking for a person with this sort of skill set or this degree, hit me up, apply, this is where you go. And we don't have that platform because when those celebrities has that $1 million status and those residual incomes coming in, somebody got to be running their business because they're not doing it. They sit back collecting a check where their operations are handling all the day-to-day, which there's plenty of qualified bros that can network, partnership, be employed, whatnot, and I don't hear none of that happening.
Yeah, because I was kind of alluding to like your Neil deGrasse Tysons and your Robert F. Smiths. I mean, and like I said, I think this is just fraternities in general, not just us, and even sororities where hell they had to settle for Jada Pinkett and this kind of stuff, and it's like,
And,
you know what I'm saying?
When you talk on that level, man, and like CP was saying, you get into like that's the internal type of fraternity politics that I was, touching, because you still have like every grand boss list wants to come in and put his stamp on the entire fraternity before he leaves.
That's true. That's true.
He's going to do what he can, and this is what I've done. And everyone's trying to up the other, so to speak. And I mean, and you're supposed to have a new vision, and the frat's supposed to keep moving forward. And that's what I'm seeing here now in this in the boss, the seat here with Theta Omega. It's like I gotta do something different other than what the Prius Boss Line has done before me in order to bring forth a progressive type of, way of thinking to move us in the future, right? That's what we're doing. But at the same time, you can't sacrifice the integrity of the organization. And I believe at times on that level, sometimes we just lose sight of the integral part of enrichment of what our fraternity is all about. Lose that in the sauce of, okay, what else can I do, or what is my stamp going to be? What type of honorary brothers can I bring in on this level? We need to have more of the think, okay, well, how can we get back to the integrity of the honorary initiates versus just letting anybody in? I don't know if we want to ever have somebody again that steps up and take initiative to do that, but I do know that it was on the table, and they're going to do different conversation, how things were voted on, and how it was pushed through this last clay. So maybe it's changed for the better because last group, but we just have to wait and see.
Now, how we, as far, and if anybody else want to chime in that, because I'm gonna go back into the undergrad with the young and the old. I want to touch on that some more. If anybody else want to chime in on the whole thing about the honoraries and the big name people. Nope. Okay. All right. So, go ahead.
No, I just say keep it moving. Yep.
Oh, okay. Now I'm a teacher and I'm an adjunct professor, and I noticed we're dealing with Generation Z now, I believe, and it's a whole different. I mean, they're a whole different species of a human being, damn near. Right. So when you're dealing with, I guess, Generation Z being undergrad, would you say that it's, you got to start doing things way more different than you did before in order for you to uphold the tradition? Or would you say that as soon as they get in through the process, they pretty much get a bottle upright, act right and follow through? Because I've been kind of out of the loop on that note. But what do you guys take on that? Because these young folks, man, oh my God. What direction are we? What direction you think that we're going into? Because one of the things that one of my criticism with the young for sure, even though we were accused of it, a lot of these young folks are not listening to anyone just for the fact that their title starts with an O, older.
Can I chime in on that?
Oh, he's still Borgin. Gosh. Go try it again.
I'm sorry. It's my truck. But anyway, can y'all hear me good?
Matter of fact, take the video off and see if it sounds better.
Okay, hold on.
How about that? It's
All
still,
right.
it's still Borgin.
Yeah.
How can we fix that, y'all?
You might have to drop Drew and come back in.
Yeah, log off and come back in.
Okay. Because when I came in, and matter of fact, I wasn't too far behind Big Nasty. There was a wedge then. But right now, from what I'm hearing, it's even wider. I'm just to let people know, this is not just us. I even hearing this in the Masonic Lodge too. All these different organizations have this issue.
Man,
So
I think I do school a little, but
wow.
be kind of
Everybody's sound is tripping. Oh God.
Am I still Borgin?
No, you're good.
All right.
There was another. Okay. Go ahead, fam.
It might have been my vehicle interfering, but that is a across the board, not just Omega.
Right.
Like you brought that up. I think it's essential for all organizations, especially Black organizations, fraternity, sorority, because I think Generation Z is across the board on all higher education, not just predominantly white universities, but also HBCUs. And I think it's a time that the graduate chapters need to, I'm not saying step in, but these undergraduates need to be more close or more engaged or connected to the graduate organization just to keep the balance. Because if not, I know at my school, Western Kentucky, they, what's the words? The school has stepped in, if that makes any sense to anyone, and has infiltrated all the black organizations, meaning the black organizations have to go through the school. And I don't think that's none of their business of what these organizations got going on. I think they need to be tied to their graduate chapters to help them stay the course of their organization.
So would you say that I think the one thing that we haven't really emphasized with the young is staying on code?
Yes, not just that, just what's the words, making sure everything is met, the organization's mandatory programs, the vision, what you said that you what you like and would do for the organization, because a lot of the youth coming into higher education are coming from all different forms of broken households.
Yep.
So especially with the brothers, if you never had a solid uh, man in your life, if your mom was forced to survive, it's hard to stay the course of the vision. So a lot of kids, when they get to higher education, they know what they want to do, but when the going gets tough, that's where it gets tough for them, because everyone's taking the latter, the easier. And yeah, it was hard in you all's generation to get the schoolwork done, to get the shows done, to get the programming done, to get your personal life done. But that was never an excuse. In today's time, especially the Z generation, it's an excuse, and it's almost to the point where they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be challenged, and they bringing in other people with the same attitudes.
So anyone else want to chime in on that one? Okay. So would you guys say that, um, my take as an educator always felt that we don't have enough, especially young black men in higher education like we should. I mean, do we see that, or everything is like pretty much up in the air? It's like whatever.
There's no money, and I was supposed to be in education, but there's no
Hmm.
support for teachers across the board, period.
Hmm.
And it's definitely difficult when you're a black man, because you're not going to get any support as a teacher. So when a black man is trying to lead, he can be viewed as passive, he can be viewed as aggressive. It's whatever they feel like utilizing to undermine your sole purpose, which is to educate.
Yeah, because I'm getting
And
a lot
everybody,
of push. Oh, go ahead.
I said,
Go
everybody
ahead.
needs money. So the educational field, they already tapped out on the pockets. I know plenty of female educators, and they come out of pocket hundreds of dollars, some thousands, to do things in the classroom.
Oh, what I was talking about was enough black young men just getting a degree or going into higher education,
Oh yeah,
where
okay.
that the numbers are very small. Matter of fact, I'm getting into administration, and there is a, I don't know if you guys have any, when your state or your schools around there, you can check. There's a website called Dashboard,
Yeah, we
and
use that here.
you can look at the college readiness.
Yeah.
And most of the black children are either 5% or even 1% college readiness out of all the whole population.
But do you
That's
know
only
what,
over here.
but brother, do you know where that readiness drops off at? Is there data on that? Because I have an assumption.
Um, my guess would be the 11th grade year. The 11th grade year.
I
That's
believe it's
because
before that.
what the ninth grade.
Yes, I used to be in social work here in Jefferson County, and a lot of my clients, I started to hear similar stories. There was a drop off, in the parents discussing school and behavior between the 7th and 8th grade years into high school. Something happened after that 6th grade year where the child started to experience that interfere with their education.
Yeah, it's usually the separation between and the transition between schools most of the time. Um, but that's something that's like I mean pretty much the whole country because I thought it was just Los Angeles, but it's all over, man. It's
Also, with the higher education, like your high school, I think there's way too many young educators. There's way too many young educators, meaning um, they can't turn off their personal life and educate. A lot of kids have different type of reports with their teachers, and I know when I was coming up in school, especially high school, the teachers were way more seasoned and knowledgeable. It wasn't about being cool; it was about learning. It's a little bit different here in Jefferson County as far as educators. You got some educators fresh out of school, right back a few years removed from their high school experience, right back in there educating.
yeah, we have the same thing here. I call them Starbucks or Whole Foods teachers, where they be coming in with sandals and
Yeah,
eating
pants
granola.
sagging.
I'm like, damn, you teaching high school, you telling kids,
Right,
well, everybody doesn't have to go to college. You can explore yourself and go in and expand your horizons. I'm like, these dudes are in the hood. Do they look like they need to expand their horizons?
right.
They get me upset. We have the same story, man. I'm sitting in there with all these veterans when I started teaching in '96. And so a lot of those teachers I started with, they were in the civil rights movement and everything. So they knew their stuff. And I'm like, I'm soaking up game from them. That matter of fact, I learned how to teach from them. Matter of fact,
Right.
these were the teachers that brought principals down to their knees. They were powerful. So all of a sudden, I think the program is called Teach for America. That's when I started seeing a decline of effective teaching or what they call it, powerful teaching and learning. I saw the decline of that. And so not only that, but they still use that as a vehicle to be the savior on the white horse. So the good thing about the frat, we have a program in the chapter called the Cultural Symposium.
Well,
That was
another.
put together. Oh, go ahead, fam.
This is my last point, bro. I don't know if it's the same thing where you're at.
Uh-oh. Are you still speaking? Uh-oh. Maybe it's me. Go ahead, keep talking.
We can't hear you, Drew. If you're talking, Drew, we can't hear you. I think his signal's up.
Uh-oh. He must be going under a bridge.
Hello.
I
Yeah.
think he's back. He's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Hey, one more thing that I want to add to the educators, because it's these conversations to me, I hate when people start pointing the fingers, because to me, I don't think anything's wrong. It's just we have to be still and really focus on minute issues so we can handle the bigger ones. But I don't know how it is where you at. But I was just having this discussion with some other people I know who's in the education field, and I was bringing up the point. I feel that your early educators are well more diverse because they have to learn all the curriculums: math, science, English, and then your high school. They really just focus on their uh, their subject. But the problem is when they're graduating, it's very hard for them to find jobs in the field in the subject that they studied for. So with that being said, it's like I can see how early education is so strong and where the drop off is, because if you spent majority of your class studies studying English and your job is in math, your poor subject, you know, how you going to engage kids when you're struggling yourself to teach it, because that's not your strong point. You went to school to be an English teacher, and because you wanted a job, you settled for this math course.
Sorry about that, y'all. This whole connection thing was tripping, but I dropped off when you were talking about connecting with children. Did he drop off too?
Yeah, I think it's a bad connection
Man.
everywhere, man.
Yeah, but the reason why,
Because I really hear like every time they speak it is
yeah,
dot, dot,
when
dot,
we
dot,
start
dot.
speaking this way,
You know what
things
I
be
mean?
happening, man. But that's what I was trying to
Right.
yeah, that's what I was trying to get at, where, one of our cards is pretty much is a scholarship. So it's like, do we do enough to promote scholarship amongst the youth, especially particularly black boys? And I'm talking about as fraternities. I'm always say that,
Yeah,
as fraternities,
as
not
a
just
whole
Omega Psi Phi.
journey. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
because
Well, it's one of those. That's a question right there. It's hard unless you do a study. You know what I mean? Unless you go across and you do like a study and then
mm-hmm,
get a percentage. You know what I mean? So you just never know who's doing what. But a lot of individuals in the community pretty much know who almost every organization is. So if everybody's doing their service, then they coming in contact, even if it's one bruh
mm-hmm,
representing the whole, you know what I mean? And one to touch one and the next one touch one and to pay over. Because me dealing with youth, that's my occupation from jump, from age
mm-hmm.
8 all the way to like 21, 22, and pretty much, and that's it, worse than worse.
Right.
Talking about murders and everything, dealing with you on all levels, and guess what? They pretty much know what a nigga is accused. Somebody purple and gold. It's either somebody in their family or they seen something on TV. You know what I mean? I'm not saying just like you go to school to get educated. That don't mean they pertaining it. It's teachers teaching every day, and it's a kid being there all don't know nothing because how the teacher might teach. You know what I mean? So that's one of those questions. It's like it's on the receiver.
I think bro raised some good points. We do need to. I think we could always do more to reach out to the youth. I think my dad. He wasn't a bruh. He's not a bruh, but he was always. He'd just say when he'd come home and say, "Everybody meet me at the baseball diamond. We'll go up to the park. Everybody at the house. We're gonna go to a Dodger game. He loved baseball. This one baseball was cheap. But we need to take more of a mentorship role in everything. I have a young indigenous male student now. He's 14, but every now and then he has issues with math. But it's a blessing for me to be able to go to other brothers and help him with math. My son's Will Rochester. He loves math. Reggie Gentry loves math. And then my wife also has opportunities for her sorority sisters to help them out with math. So we need to constantly reach out and help them on different levels, encourage their outlook by sciences, take them on field trips, just an impromptu field trip, to the beach or something like that, and just expose them to everything and keep exposing them, because everything is an education. You pull an education from everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to keep exposing and exposure
is key. So I'm gonna say it like this: we need to do more. Every organization needs to do more, and it's not something you can just do one time. You got to stay with it, and keep doing it.
So I'm gonna
You know
put
what I?
an
You know what I
equation out.
found out?
Oh,
You
go
know
ahead,
what I
man.
found out, brother? One second. You know
Hmm.
what I found out with you? Because I work with them on all levels, inside facilities, and all of that. It's the life skills. It ain't so much of the knowledge. If they don't have skills, it's hard for them to retain any type of information. Life skills like how to wash their tail, how to wash their private area, how to know when you smell tail, there's something going on. You see what I mean? Like hygiene. These are things that a lot of the youth in our community, and I'm speaking in our community, that's 17, don't know how to make a bed up, don't know how to like wash a dish, or not alone know how to prepare a meal. McDonald's and something and purchasing the meal. I'm talking about this life skills. I think that's the key. I think a lot of people be like, hey, listen to me. These youth need life skills because when you go home from that school, you don't know what that youth's situation is. I mean, he can be getting raped. He can be starving. Mom, ain't no mom or dad there. I can speak on that. I grew up with nobody in the home. But guess what? I learned how to
Hmm.
survive just by being in them projects, learning from OGs. But at the same time, I know even today in 2020, there are youth right now in the majority that look like us that don't have somebody at all. And most of everybody just assume this kid got a parent because they showing up at school. Nah, man, you gotta really sit down. You gotta. It's on an individual basis. Most of the youth, each one has a different case, but they all kind of like similar. It's some type of neglect or something lacking. So I think it's just life skills gotta be the top dog. You know what I mean? Of course, the simple mathematics, reading, and all of that. Yes, we're gonna continue to encourage that, but it's gotta be life skills. Gotta be like the head of everything. The life skills of the youth, because they are our future.
Hmm. So I may be coming across this situation, but wanted to find out, like, it, take you guys' take on, because we got the mandated programs. If you were able to take your mandated programs and expand it within a school district for a city, you know, um, you know, because obviously you probably would need more. That's why I said expand. How would you go about doing that? Would you have to do it with national, or would you have your committees within a committee? But how would you make your nine mandated programs, to expand it all the way from kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school, or is that possible?
I think anything's possible. I think
Right.
everything's possible. I think it starts from the head, which is the nationals, because you got regulations dealing when it comes to youth, man. I'm telling you, boy, they don't play. Hey, it's things you've been on with them, two people in the room. It don't matter, male, female, because of the things that's going on now and that's been going on when it comes to abusing kids and youth. So it has to start from top, and they got to have everything in place that's regulated with the state. You see what I mean? Because everything stems from the state, but by us
Right.
incorporating something, it has to start with the heads because they got individuals in place who can really, you know what I mean, make those calls. You know what I mean? And then it's filtered down to all of us that's like local, like state, district, and all those. That's just my logic, just dealing with you. You know what I mean? While we on this topic.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the social action programs. I mean, that alone, you can get a lot done with that. Quite a bit, even down to talent hunt, essay contest, all the different things. And I know that the fraternity is long in the tooth. We're really making a difference in people's lives, or young people's lives, boys and girls. And as I get older, especially in like I said, my 25th year just passed, and I'm like, I know we can do things bigger. That's always been me. Not to say that it's be better, but just bigger. And the thing is that right now it's 2020, and I'm like, the only way is up still. And at the same time, you know, we're getting to a situation where we are damn near ready to hand the keys over, you know, to the new leadership. So that's one of my concerns, because I may be in position to be a director to where I can take whatever the frat has and make it so that it can be mandatory, not just not just a side thing where people are coming in and helping, but the frat could probably have something that is mandatory within a district to where, children are thriving, and, and all the good things are happening. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to see if anybody had some ideas on that per se. Um, but man, I appreciate the brotherhood for coming through. I hope brothers pretty much check this out, because I think it was very informative to hear all these professional brothers give their take. I had fun, to be honest. Too bad everybody was at work. But did you want to do some closing remarks, good brother?
Just give me 1 second. I'm in the establishment.
Oh, okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, but the physical fifth took over. Rooty root to the bros in the fifth.
No doubt. Yeah,
You
it's
know.
good being on here, man. How often you do this?
Well, I do a show every Tuesdays and Fridays.
Okay.
And people come in and chime in, but if you just want me to do just an all only bruh panel, then we can do that too.
Yeah, it might
To
be something we
where
could look into, man. It'd be good. I gotta hop off here myself, man. I gotta get on this work meeting myself.
Oh, not a problem, man. But you guys stay safe, stay cute. You know, I don't know. Don't get drunk on your Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Don't drink too much oil.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Be easy. All right, Rick.
All
All right,
right,
big
Rudy Roo dogs.
All right, 9-6. Root.
Rudy Roo. So this is the Brotherhood of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, and this is Founders Day. This is where we made history. This is 109th year since this fraternity has been founded. So I just wanted to pay homage, because we have a lot of good brothers in this fraternity, and people that came in, you can listen to the playback, but a lot of good information that you guys can take, whether you like us or not. It is what it is. I might even host other organizations too that want to be able to chime in. I'll probably just be a fly on the wall since it's their organization. So other than that, man, we're just trying to build and trying to show that brothers are doing things. And thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. Take care and peace.